Chapter 8:18. Forced me to sleep with her due to cooperation from Gong Su. The shooting was completed without any hiccups. During the shooting, Kai Yongsheng requested more intimate poses. Thankfully, since Yi Wanwan was watching and Liang Chong was apprehensive, the photos weren't over the top and the shooting ended smoothly. Gong Su immediately got into the nanny van once the shoot was over. "Where are my candied plums?" Gong Su pounced onto Dong Zai like a hungry wolf the moment he got on. Dong Zai wiped his sweat then hurriedly brought them out. "Suji, I bought them already. They're from the store you usually buy them from." Gong Su took the bag and glanced at it, dissatisfied. "Didn't you buy anything else? She asked you to get 2 boxes of candied plums, and you really went to just get 2 boxes of candied plums. You didn't even add on a cake for me." As Gong Su was always secretly snacking away, causing his weight to be over the limit, he was ordered by Yi Wanwan to lose weight, and wasn't allowed to have snacks anymore. This was especially the case for sweet foods, and it was very rare for him to have her permission this once. Gong Su took small, careful bites of the candied plum, afraid there'd be none left. His eyes were watery as he leaned over, and he glued himself to Yi Wanwan, who was sitting next to him. Yi Ji, can I tell you something?" The corners of Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. "Speak properly." Gong Su. "Yi Ji, I would like to discuss something with you." Yi Wanwan, speak. Gong Su spoke with sparkly eyes. It's like this. When will you let me see the real little candied plum?" He only followed Yi Bai for the sake of meeting little candied plum at the beginning, but after getting to know him for some time, he realized he centered all his attention on Yi Bai and almost forgot his initial goal. But upon seeing Yi Bai's resemblance to little candied plum, he recalled his main goal. Yi Wanwan gave him side-eye. "You haven't given up yet?" Gong Su spoke in a serious tone. "Yi Ji, what are you saying? Although I'm usually quite a playboy, my feelings for little candied plum are different, alright?" Yi Wanwan. "What's the difference? You only met her once." Gong Su's face was covered in peach blossoms. He blushed and said, "Yi Ji, have you heard of this phrase that girls usually say? Love isn't complicated. It might just happen to be a guy appearing before me in a white shirt that I like on a random afternoon. To me, love is little candied plum giving me a box of candied plum at the right moment." Yi Wanwan was stunned and looked at Gong Su, who was suddenly filled with a teenage girl's heart. He was clearly a playboy, yet he was acting like a teenage boy in love for the first time. Yi Wanwan said, "No little candied plum, but I'll let you have a chocolate a day. I'd better placate this guy a bit. After all, I'm afraid Gong Su will have to suffer a little this time." Gong Su was over the moon when he heard that. He stared at Yi Wanwan with his guard up. "Yi Ji, why are you so nice to me all of a sudden? I'm so scared now. You're not going to sell me to a wealthy female boss and force me to sleep with her, are you?" Yi Wanwan. "You should just continue going for young girls." After Yi Wanwan was done with her work, she returned to Jin Garden and had dinner with Si Yi Han. She had been back for a couple of days already and nameless Nya was nowhere to be found. He hadn't contacted her at all, and she wasn't sure if he still needed her help or not, so she hadn't spoken about it to Si Yi Han at all. That guy was too unreliable. She'd better just wait for his confirmation before telling Si Yi Han. After all, it was simply too ridiculous for her to tell Si Yi Han to be a dad all of a sudden. Chapter 8:19. What sort of new trick is this? Yi Wanwan bumped into 11 the moment she stepped out to the courtyard, and the big bruises on one of his eyes and chin immediately caught her attention. 11. What happened to your face?" Yi Wanwan asked anxiously. Miss Wanwan." 11 covered his face instinctively and took a big step back reflexively. "No, nothing." Yi Wanwan looked sharply at him. "How could this be nothing? Who beat you up? Was it Yuan Sheng? Are they making trouble for you again?" 11 choked. "No, really it's nothing. I knocked into a wall myself." Yi Wanwan. "Huh? Knocked into a wall? Yet you're bruised so badly?" Yi Wanwan was speaking to 11 when Feng Xianyi walked over from behind 11. And he also had a swollen face and bruises all over. Yi Wanwan looked at 11 then turned to little stutterer, and didn't believe his words. What happened to Feng Xianyi then? Feng Xianyi was taken aback then he blinked. I I knocked into the wall with 11. 11 hurriedly chimed in. Yes, I can bear witness to that. Yi Wanwan was speechless. What sort of new trick are you guys playing, huh? Feng Xianyi. 11 wiped his sweat. We don't want to play this either. While Yi Wanwan was eating with Si Yihan, she kept thinking about nameless Nie's little nephew who lost his parents. She thought about it carefully. Considering Si Yihan's current condition, it was impossible for them to have a child. His body wouldn't even be able to handle having sex, not to mention having a child. The possibility of someone like Si Yihan, who wasn't on the same level as humans, becoming an ad hoc stay-at-home dad was really too low. And getting him to pretend to be a father under these circumstances would be jabbing his wound. Right? I should just find an extra and make do with that. Seeing that Yi Wanwan was biting on her chopsticks, Si Yihan looked at her with a gaze that could penetrate a person's thoughts. What's on your mind? Yi Wanwan felt a sense of guilt then blurted out. Nothing. Nothing much. I was just wondering whether you've recovered and when we could have sex? Cough. Si Yihan choked. Yi Wanwan quickly patted his back. Are you okay? It's really rare to see Si Yihan losing his composure. She realized that she was becoming more and more fond of teasing Si Yihan, and it always came out of her mouth so naturally. What sorcery is this? Si Yihan quickly recovered his calm and unperturbed expression. Eat your food. Oh, okay. It wasn't her fault. As the saying went, when one is fed and warmed, one's sexual desires will come up. How's work? Si Yihan asked. Si Yihan never asked her about her work, and this was really rare. Probably because he knew about the recent changes in her company. Yi Wanwan told him the situation very simply then said, Kai Yongsheng is the nephew of Chu Hongguang, and with such a strong backing, I wouldn't be able to stop him at all if he wants to take over the company. I already expected this to happen, but it's inevitable to hurt a little when I see him trampling on my hard work. It's something I had to go through sooner or later. In the beginning, when she first joined Dazzling, her goal was very clear. Dazzling was equivalent to a novice village and was a place she could gain experience and build her network, but she would have to leave this place someday. Si Yihan looked at her indifferently. He has a strong backing? Yi Wanwan blinked and giggled mischievously. No way, his could never compare to mine. Chapter 820. Two guys fighting for a girl? A few days later, in order to get Yi Wanwan out of the way, Chu Hongguang sent her abroad on a business trip. At the same time, all sorts of interesting information about the shoot that Gong Su and Lu Xiyang did for Beauty magazine came out. Lu Xiyang was obviously an expert in this area. She exploited various angles to produce some pretty ambiguous photos. Gossip about Gong Su and Lu Xiyang was spreading everywhere, and everyone was talking about Gong Su's new relationship. Because of Gong Su's fame, the originally unpopular Lu Xiyang appeared in the public sphere all of a sudden. Gong Su's new relationship exposed. The girl is a newbie from the same company. Gong Su's new girlfriends, Lu Xiyang's pure and innocent portrait. Gong Su's new squeeze, the beautiful Lu Xiyang. Gong Su fell into the river of love once again, pursuing a beautiful junior relentlessly. While reading the headlines of the dishonest gossip online, Gong Su was hopping mad. Fuck. Kai Yongsheng, that dog. His father shall go all out with him. Who's the one pursuing relentlessly, huh? Does he want a face-off? Just as he was complaining, Gong Su read a few other pieces of gossip. Luo Chun and Lu Xiyang entered a love nest late at night. Luo Chun and Lu Xiyang cast amorous glances at each other. The nation's first love, Luo Chun, falls for the prettiest beau, Lu Xiyang. It was the same trick that Gong Su used. There were a couple of photos in which the truth was mingled with falsehoods which were then labeled with eye-catching titles. Ahahaha, Luo Chun, you fool, you fell into the trap as well. A second ago, Gong Su was still in a rage, but he started to bask in Luo Chen's misery the next second. On the sofa, Luo Chen read the gossip about him and Lu Xiyang and furrowed his brows. Gong Su didn't gloat for long before he began to complain again. Damn. Gong Su and Luo Chen had a big fight because they fancy the same girl? What the hell is this? This woman was possessed by an acting ghost or something, huh? In the photo was Gong Su and Luo Chen fighting while Lu Xiyang was anxiously persuading them to stop by the side. It seemed like a melodramatic fight between two guys over a girl. However, the fact of the matter was that Gong Su and Luo Chun were just squabbling like usual. It was very normal for them to do that. Luo Chun was always calm and collected in the public eye, but Gong Su always had the ability to piss him off. Moreover, this fella always found joy in pissing Luo Chun off. In the photo, it was Lucy Yang who ran over to them, acting like a busybody to persuade them to stop, but in the end, the story got twisted in that way. Within a few short days, Gong Su, Luo Chun and Lucy Yang's names were searched countless times online. Lucy Yang was akin to a vampire, leeching like crazy on their fame. Leeching from Gong Su alone wasn't enough for her. She had to leech from Luo Chun as well. With this amount of popularity, Cai Yongsheng helped arrange various variety shows and interviews for the three of them on his own initiative. At the moment, Gong Su and Luo Chun didn't look too happy. Ever since Luo Chun made his debut, there were zero scandals about him, and he had a spotless reputation. After this incident, Lucy Yang's popularity soared, but his reputation was greatly affected. Even though this incident didn't have much impact on Gong Su, his reputation and private life had improved recently, and all this was the result of Yi Wanwan's efforts. Her goal was to improve Gong Su's image slowly. He couldn't be an idol forever, and as he grew older, he had to start changing his image. Right now Lucy Yang messed things up for him, and he was back to square one. Gong Su and Luo Chun were already quite popular, and definitely didn't need a scandal to keep them in the limelight. On the contrary, having a scandal with a female artist would cause their fans to dislike them. What they needed right now was to accumulate public praise. At the end of the day, Cai Yongsheng was just trying to increase the popularity of his own artist, Lucy Yang. Chapter 8:21. In a challenging situation company meeting in the morning. Cai Yongsheng praised himself proudly. After I took charge, Lucy, Luo Chun and Gong Su had a drastic increase in exposure, and everyone is talking about them. It's a total three-way win situation. Nowadays, we can't just shoot a movie and call it a day. Publicity and marketing are very important as well. Otherwise, nobody would talk about them and they wouldn't rise in fame, right? Exactly, Director Cai is right. Lucy certainly has some potential. She became so popular so soon after debuting. Cai Yongsheng has great instincts. The other higher-ups from the company agreed. Lucy Yang pretended to be modest and remarked, "All of you are flattering me. It's all thanks to the help of Director Cai." Cai Yongsheng looked at Gong Su and Luo Chun as pleased as punch, and he ordered them. "Gong Su and Luo Chun, I already arranged the next course of your journeys for the two of you. Next week, you guys will be taking part in Imperial City Satellite TV's reality show together with Lucy. It's called Totally in Love." Gong Su couldn't tolerate this anymore. He slammed the table and stood up. "Who are you to arrange young master's itinerary? What's your status, huh?" Cai Yongsheng chuckled and gave Gong Su side eye. "Tsk Gong Su. Although your manager is Vice President Yi, your contract is with the company, and now that I'm the Director of Talent Recruitment, I'll have the final say on everything regarding an artist's work assignments. Even Vice President Yi has no right to question me. If you're not convinced, you can bring your complaints to Chairman Chu." "Cai Yongsheng, don't use Chairman Chu against me. You." Luo Chun frowned and reminded him in a low voice, "Gong Su, that's enough. Don't make things hard for Yi Ji. If you carry on making a fuss, everyone will think Yi Ji instructed you to act like this whether it was your own idea or not. Yi Ji's current situation is already challenging enough." "Damn it," Gong Su balled his fists up tightly. If this was in the past, he wouldn't have to tolerate anyone's nonsense. However, that was because of the backing from his family, not himself. His two elder brothers were experts in their own fields, and were the pride of his parents. He was the only one with nothing to his name, and he had been sheltered by the family. In the past, he took it for granted and only realized now that those people were right. Without the status of young Master Gong, he was nothing at all and didn't even have the ability to protect the people he cared about. Luo Chun pressed Gong Su's shoulder. "We'll talk about it again once Yi Ji is back." Gong Su then suppressed his anger and sat down. "It's confirmed then." Meeting adjourned. Cai Yongsheng looked at the two of them mockingly. One of them was a toothless paper tiger while the other had neither status nor background. Without the huge tree of Worldwide, they were nothing. Whatever Worldwide gave them, it could be taken back very easily, and unless they were obedient, they didn't have to think about making it big. City C. After a day's work was over, Yi Wanwan returned to the hotel room. Just as she expected, the moment she opened her laptop, she saw scandals flooding the internet regarding Gong Su, Luo Chen and Lucy Yang. Cai Yongsheng molded Lucy Yang into a perfect goddess while Gong Su and Luo Chen both had deep admiration for her, and were used as a foil for her. One didn't have to think to know that Gong Su was already exploding in fury for sure. 3 days. In 3 days' time, Yi Wanwan would receive the final sum of money and clear her housing debt. Then she wouldn't have to be controlled by Chu Hongguang anymore. Chapter 822. Jealous my ass. During the past 3 days when Yi Wanwan wasn't around, Cai Yongsheng was absolutely unbridled, and seized all the resources Yi Wanwan received from other artists. The best part was that he gave everything to Lucy Yang, trampling on Gong Su and Luo Chen. Although Cai Yongsheng was just conferring a favor, he received quite a number of benefits from HQ, like getting a spot in training school, a chance to study abroad, and a role on the production team. But all these would only be his after he made his offerings. Everybody knew Dazzling was about to undergo a change, and they started looking for a way out for themselves. In the past, under Yi Bai's management, the abled artists could stay and everyone relied on their capabilities to get resources. Now, all those talented artists were racking their brains on how to gain favor with this new director of talent recruitment. No matter how capable Yi Bai was, he was just an employee, while Cai Yongsheng was Chu Hongguang's nephew. He would definitely be the one who would take over this company in the future. 3 days later, Imperial City Satellite TV's live recording of Totally in Love. Cai Yongsheng brought the beautiful Lucy Yang in high heels with an entourage consisting of her assistant, a makeup artist, a stylist, and about 7 to 8 bodyguards following behind her. It was quite a show of extravagance. Cai Yongsheng spoke in a condescending tone and reminded Yi Mu Fan. Head stylist Felix, this is the very first variety show that our Lucy is in. You better do a good job on her styling. I'm holding you to the highest standards. TSK, what vice chairperson of the Fashion Association? At the end of the day, he's merely an employee at Worldwide. Knowing the close relationship between Yi Mu Fan and Yi Wanwan, Cai Yongsheng kept making things hard for him as well. He declined all the assignments on Yi Mu Fan's behalf and made him come down specifically to style Lucy Yang. Yi Mu Fan narrowed his eyes and glanced at the time on his phone, then forced himself to calm down. Wanwan should be done on her side. Just Lucy Yang's makeup alone would take half a day. When it was finally Luo Chen and Gong Su's turn, there were only 10 minutes left. Thankfully, both of them had great complexions, and with just some light makeup, they outshone the other newbies in seconds. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Right now, I'll brief everyone on what's expected for this week's program. The director walked over. This sort of program might seem like the artists could freely express themselves on the spot, but the fact was that the entire program was scripted. How they should act, what they should say, what the funny parts were, and even the first, second and third place winners had already been decided. The director began the intense preparations and arranged them into various groups. After he spoke to the first few groups, he turned to Luo Chen, Gong Su, and the others. Luo Chen, you'll team up with Lucy Yang, and Gong Su, you'll team up with Xiaoying. In order to draw the audience in, we must have an intense conflict in the beginning. So the script is such that both Luo Chen and Gong Su fancy Lucy Yang, but the person in the same group as Lucy Yang is Luo Chen. At this moment, Gong Su, you have to show your jealousy and hatred. Gong Su, what the fuck? Jealous my ass. The director continued. According to our script, Luo Chen and Lucy Yang will be the winners of the game later on. Lucy Yang will then go over and hug Luo Chen, and Gong Su will be so raging mad that he charges over and has a big fight with Luo Chen. Gong Su burst out in laughter. What dumb script is this? How retarded does young master need to be in order to do something like this, huh? Why would I like an ugly freak and even fight over her with this guy? Chapter 823. First kiss on screen. Lucy Yang was furious. She put on a look of grievance but was laughing coldly in her heart. What's he complaining about? Even if he doesn't want to, he still has to cooperate obediently. The director chuckled. Gong-soo, this is a requirement of the show. The show needs this. The audience loves watching these sorts of things. Please understand, okay? Luo Chun sneered. It was stated in the contract that there won't be any physical contact. The director paid no attention and said, yes, but this kind of rule is directed toward females. You're a grown man, and if a girl wants to hug you, you're the one benefiting from it, right? Luo Chun pursed his lips, and before he could continue, Kai Yongsheng walked over impatiently. Why do the both of you have so many problems? Do you know what professionalism is? What cooperation is? I thought Yi Bai was so capable as a gold medal manager, but as it turns out, he's merely a bum. He actually groomed artists of this quality? Seeing that he had great power in his hands, Kai Yongsheng was becoming more and more emboldened. Upon hearing the nasty remarks from Kai Yongsheng about Yi Bai, Luo Chun was stunned and Gong-soo's expression changed. Gong-soo charged towards him and grabbed Kai Yongsheng by the collar. What did you just say? Try saying it once more for your father. Kai Yongsheng scoffed. Io. What, you want to beat me up? Gong-soo, don't blame me for not reminding you, but if I wanted to chase you out of the company right now, I could do it with just a few words. Without worldwide. An artist like you who doesn't have anything other than looks wouldn't be worth a fart. Who the hell are you to make a scene, huh? Gong-soo tightened his grip instantly. You. Kai Yongsheng had difficulty breathing and he hurriedly threatened Gong-soo. Go on. Keep making a scene. If anything happens, Yi Bai will be responsible for it. By then, you guys will see whether he can handle it. Your director Yi had quite a hard time before he could reach this status, and with the two of you making a fuss, I'm afraid he won't be able to keep his posto. Tsk tisk. Gong-soo's fingers loosened instinctively. What happened to him didn't matter, but he was scared he would drag Yi Bai into it. Yi Bai wasn't like him. He didn't treat the entertainment industry like a game, and Gong-soo knew how much Yi Bai valued this job. Luo Chun was silent for a long while. Finally, he took a deep breath. Got it, I will cooperate. Alas, Gong-soo's fingers gradually loosened, and he let go. Kai Yongsheng was delighted. He patted his collar and coughed lightly. That's the way. As long as you guys listen obediently, that's good for everyone. He then said to the director, Director, please proceed. Kids throw tantrums all the time. I hope you don't mind it. All right. The director went to Kai Yongsheng and lit his cigarette for him attentively as he whispered, Director Kai, only you know what to do. The artists under your care are so submissive to you. Kai Yongsheng laughed. Of course, everything they have right now is from Worldwide, and all the things Worldwide gives them can also be taken away anytime, so obviously they wouldn't dare to disobey me. Kai Yongsheng's eyes lit up as he spoke. He was so excited that the fat on his face jiggled as he exclaimed, Wait, I have some inspiration. Why don't we get Lucy to kiss Luo Chun after hugging him as if she was unable to restrain herself? Wouldn't that be more exciting? Director, what do you think? When the director heard that, he was obviously agreeable. Not bad. Director Kai, your suggestion is fantastic. Fantastic. This was Luo Chun's first kiss on screen. The viewership would definitely be sky high. Chapter 824. Just here to take my own people away. The two of them didn't ask for Luo Chun's opinion at all, and changed the script right away. Luo Chun clenched his fists tightly. Working in the entertainment industry, this sort of incident was nothing out of the ordinary, and he had gone through much worse. However, ever since his debut, he was very well protected by Yi Ji, and Yi Ji would never let him go through something like this. All he had to do normally was work hard and act well. Kai Yongsheng looked at Gong-soo casually. Oh yes, Gong-soo, don't forget to beat Luo Chun up immediately after kissing Lucy. Make it look realistic, understand? You should be quite good at this, right? Ha. Gong-soo's fists were so tightly clenched that his knuckles were cracking and his eyes were crimson red. The director clapped eagerly. All right, everyone, please go to your places and start getting ready. The game segment ended according to the script, during which Lucy Yang made all sorts of advances towards Luo Chun. Even Gong Su couldn't take it anymore. Yet Luo Chen kept his cool and didn't explode at all. After the games ended, the host said in an exaggerated manner, "Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations to Luo Chen and our Lucy on getting first place. Should Goddess Lucy reward Luo Chen with a hug?" Lucy Yang said, abashed. "Thank you for taking care of me during the game, Luo Chen. I'm really happy we got first place. Luo Chen, thank you." Lucy Yang walked over to Luo Chen after speaking. It was as if she could already see how high the viewership would be after the show was aired. Luo Chen stood in the same spot. His back stiffened while Gong Su's face was extremely gloomy and Yi Mu Fan's face was filled with anxiety as well. If they really acted according to the director's script, Gong Su and Luo Chen's public personas would be completely ruined. Those rumors about them not getting along would become fact as well. Also for Luo Chen, he could say goodbye to his good boy image. Lucy Yang walked over to Luo Chen and appeared really shy as she leaned towards him. Darn it! Yi Mu Fan was panicking. Lucy Yang extended her arm to hug Luo Chen, then took the chance to direct her lips toward his face eagerly. Just as Lucy Yang's lips were about to come into contact with Luo Chen, there was a swish, and Luo Chen's entire body was pulled back harshly. Luo Chen only felt a sudden force pulling him back, then he knocked onto someone. After that, there was a familiar aura that put him at ease. Luo Chen turned around in disbelief, and after taking a look at the person, his eyes constricted. Yi Ji. All he saw was the man wearing a vintage design sky green colored suit with exaggerated yet exquisite Chinese embroidery around the edges. A snow-white top peeked through his sleeves, revealing his slender fingers which were as translucent as jade. The corners of his mouth lifted upward slightly as he looked disdainfully from the corner of his eyes with a languid and cold expression. If they were in ancient times, this man before him was akin to an elegant, noble and unbridled aristocrat. They didn't know when Yi Ji showed up, and before Lucy Yang could touch Luo Chen, he pulled Luo Chen back and shielded him. "Yi Ji, you're back!" Gong Su exclaimed in excitement. Everyone at the scene returned to their senses only when Gong Su's voice was heard. Upon seeing that Yi Wanwan had appeared all of a sudden, and even interrupted their shoot, Kai Yongsheng's expression changed. "Yi Bai, what do you think you're doing?" Yi Wanwan slowly revealed a plain smile, and her voice was like a breeze from the mountains as she said, "Nothing much. I'm just here to take my own people away." Chapter 825. The time of our lives. At this moment, all the artists and workers in the area started to whisper amongst themselves. "Wow, so dashing, who's that person? I heard Director Kai calling him Yi Bai. Seems like he's Gong Su and Luo Chen's manager, the newly appointed vice president and dazzling." Damn. Are you serious? There's actually a manager who's so good looking? If managers all look so good, how many artists would want to break the unspoken rule, huh? Seeing that her chance of becoming a hot topic of gossip was interrupted, Lucy Yang was upset and turned to Kai Yongsheng, seeking help. Kai Yongsheng's face darkened when he realized that Yi Bai was challenging him in front of so many people. He gritted his teeth and said, "What do you mean by that? Who belongs to you here?" "Gong Su and Luo Chen belong to the company. Don't you know that we're currently shooting a program?" Yi Wanwan replied indifferently, "So what?" Kai Yongsheng had a card up his sleeve. He threatened her mockingly. "Yi Bai, you better think twice before going against me. If Chairman Chu finds out about what you did today, the consequences." Kai Yongsheng was initially worried he wouldn't be able to get rid of this guy, but now that he sent himself to the door, Kai Yongsheng could use this chance to denounce him, and it would be best if his status dropped. Otherwise, he would be really unhappy if he got trampled on by Yi Bai because of his position. "Oh, consequences?" Yi Bai raised his brows, then took out a thin envelope. He clasped it between his fingers and waved it. "You mean this?" One word was printed on it: resignation. After getting a clear view of the envelope, Kai Yongsheng's eyes constricted, and he looked at Yi Wanwan in disbelief. You want to resign?" It had never crossed his mind that Yi Wanwan would dare to resign. The entertainment industry was very competitive and everyone knew how tough it was to survive. Getting to the position of vice president at his age was something that most people dared to not even dream about. How could he bear to give up on everything he had now? Yi Wanwan directly threw the resignation letter to Kai Yongsheng's little assistant. See for yourself. Darn it. This stinking fella actually dared to resign. Kai Yongsheng glared at him. Yi Bai. Great, this is great. You're so daring, huh? You want to resign? Since this is the case, you're no longer a part of Dazzling. So who are you to interfere with Gong Su and Luo Chen's matters? Yi Wanwan looked at Luo Chen and Gong Su. Her gaze was as dazzling as the sun. Following me? Luo Chen and Gong Su looked at each other and nodded at the same time without hesitation. Luo Chen's indifferent eyes was instantly filled with light, and his face had never looked so serious before. Yi Ji, I'll go wherever you go. Gong Su was filled with excitement. Shit, Yi Ji, you finally said it. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Watching Dazzling's two most profitable A-listers preparing to leave with Yi Bai, Kai Yongsheng finally started to panic a little. He roared in front of everyone. You guys. Are you guys crazy? Don't you know the consequences of breaching your contracts? Gong Su Luo Chen, a wise man submits to circumstances. Yi Bai doesn't have any influence or power. After he leaves Dazzling, he's nothing at all, and by following him, the two of you are ruining your own futures. Think carefully before you make a decision. Luo Chen stood there. He didn't say a word and directly tore off the program's name tag from his arm. Gong Su immediately removed the team uniform he was wearing and tossed it to the ground as he charged towards Kai Yongsheng, half naked, and he pointed his middle finger. Sayonara, one idiot. At the same time, Yi Mufan stuffed Lucy Yang's coat and bag into her little assistant's arms and swept his fringe away from his face. Then he whistled and yelled, "Hey, don't forget me. Hoo-hoo. We're free. Yi Ji, let me be a poser, bring me up high." Gong Su was jumping and cheering from a distance. In the afterglow of the setting sun, their backs seemed to radiate with dazzling light as they left. The time of their lives had just begun. Watching how the four of them left without the slightest hesitation, Kai Yongsheng, Lucy Yang, the director and everyone else left behind were dumbstruck. Chapter 826. Met with a tough opponent, they're gone. They actually left just like that. One of them was Dazzling's gold medal manager who rose from the dead, Yi Bai, and the other was known as the top stylist with divine hands, Felix, not to mention the two big pillars of Dazzling. Popular Prince, Gong Su, and hot newbie Luo Chen. These four people actually announced they were leaving Dazzling at the same time. All the staff recording the show were stunned for a moment before there was an uproar as they all instinctively looked at Kai Yongsheng. Damn, this Yi Bai is really arrogant. He simply embarrassed Kai Yongsheng like that. And he even took away a couple great gods from Dazzling. Isn't this a little mean? At this moment, someone who knew the facts stepped out. What do you know? If it wasn't for Yi Bai's PR, just that bullying incident which caused a national boycott would have destroyed Gong Su completely. Also, Felix was personally poached by Yi Bai. There were countless megastars begging him to style them, but Kai Yongsheng simply treated him like an assistant and ordered him around, making him carry bags and clothes. I don't have to mention Luo Chen, do I? Yi Bai groomed him single-handedly. When Yi Bai was the director of talent recruitment, he produced many newbies and even poached over many outstanding managers. In just a short time, Dazzling rose from being a subsidiary company of Worldwide that earned the least to becoming one of the top 10 companies in the industry because of Yi Bai. What's the meaning of this? In the end, Kai Yongsheng ruined everything. Using the fact that he was Chu Hongguang's nephew, he wanted to manage the entire company after only being here for a couple of days. He tried to get rid of Yi Bai and took all the credit for Yi Bai's work. How do you think Yi Bai feels? Everyone sighed endlessly when they heard this. If it was an ordinary person, he or she would probably suck it up, right? After all, Kai Yongsheng has such a strong backing. There's no way anybody could mess with him. Look at Yi Bai, leaving the company at this time with nothing and having to be beaten down by Worldwide next time if he remains in the industry. Kai Yongsheng should be the one with a headache. He wanted to take advantage of Yi Bai, yet he didn't expect that Yi Bai would be one tough opponent. At this moment, Kai Yongsheng, who was initially lively and showing off his strength, watched the retreating figures with dismay. He turned pale as he looked at the staff and artists around him, giving him strange looks. I'm finished. How am I going to explain this to my uncle? Lu Xiyang noticed the other female artists rejoicing in her misfortune and was hopping mad. Gong Su and Luo Chen actually left the company without hesitation just so they didn't have to be in the same program as her. This was equivalent to directly walking over her face. Xingji, look at them. They're so arrogant. Xingji, you must make it right for me. You promised that I'd be shooting this week's program with Luo Chen and Gong Su. Shut up. Kai Yongsheng yelled angrily, then he grabbed the resignation letter from his assistant's hands. His face was shrouded in gloom. The little assistant was anxious. Director Kai, what should we do? How are we going to explain this to Chairman Chu? Kai Yongsheng raged. Why are you panicking? They're just pretending to threaten me. I don't think they would dare to leave. The recording of the show was forced to stop midway and Kai Yongsheng and the others returned to the office. While they were still on the way back, Kai Yongsheng suddenly received a call from Worldwide HQ. Director Kai, weren't Luo Chen and Gong Su recording a show today? What happened? Chu Hongguang's assistant's voice came through the receiver. What's wrong? Kai Yongsheng had a bad feeling in his heart. Vice President Yi resigned. He even took Gong Su, Luo Chen and Felix away. You better come back to the office. Chairman Chu is throwing a fit. Chapter 827. Premeditated long ago. Worldwide Entertainment HQ. Chu Hongguang's face was gloomy. Tell me what exactly happened. Kai Yongsheng was very upset. He exclaimed, Uncle, I didn't do anything at all. It was that Yi Bai. He betrayed the company and had the guts to take the company's artists and staff away. He's rebelling. How could Chu Hongguang not have possibly known what was going on the past few days? He simply turned a blind eye, that was all. Yi Bai had too much of the limelight, and he merely wanted to use Kai Yongsheng to knock him down a little. He did a background check on Yi Bai. He was born in an ordinary family and didn't have any power, influence or status. He saw far too many people like this, and once they got some power, they couldn't bear giving up on what they had. But who knew that this time, he was wrong? At the end of the day, it was still this nephew of his who was too dumb and reckless. I told you countless times to know your limits. When you're dealing with Yi Bai, you have to bribe him, but don't go overboard. Most importantly, you have to make good use of him. Well done. You had such good cards in your hands, but you messed it up. Chu Hongguang was furious. Kai Yongsheng looked slightly guilty, but his expression turned to rage very quickly. He complained, Uncle, you can't blame me. This was entirely that guy's fault. He's so ungrateful. Everyone knew I'm your nephew and cooperated with me, but he was the only one who kept trying to get in the way of my work. You weren't there to see it. During the recording today, he completely embarrassed me. Did you know what that guy said? He said he was here to take his own people away, and he even encouraged Gong Su and Luo Chen to follow him. Uncle, he wasn't just disrespecting me. He doesn't even take you seriously. This kind of person with wild schemes would be a liability to the company even if he stayed. Chu Hongguang scoffed. Luo Chen and Gong Su are the two most profitable artists in Dazzling. What are you planning to do without them now? Kai Yongsheng rolled his eyes and said, Although we can't do anything about Felix, Gong Su and Luo Chen's contracts are still with the company, and this early termination is a breach of contract. We can make them compensate us to their deaths. Gong Su doesn't have his family's backing anymore and Luo Chen just recently became popular. They wouldn't be able to pay the fines. Chu Hongguang glanced at his nephew and sneered. Gong Su's contract was drawn up specifically for him, and he only has to pay the compensation listed in the contract. Luo Chen's contract already reached the 5-year mark last month and expired, so Yi Bai made him sign a new one. That contract doesn't have any loopholes at all either. When Kai Yongsheng heard that, he was dumbfounded and gritted his teeth immediately. He almost forgot Gong Su entered the industry using his status as the young master of the Gong family, so naturally, nobody dared to tamper with his contract at all. And Yi Bai changed Luo Chen's contract long ago. Uncle, this was definitely premeditated long ago. Kai Yongsheng spoke in agitation. Chu Hongguang pinched his brows and his face turned ugly. Luo Chen was so popular now and after his contract expired, Yi Bai gave him a better deal in order to make him stay. There was nothing fishy about that, so he didn't have any objections then. Who knew that this nephew of his would cause such a big mess? Cai Yongsheng was afraid he upset Chu Hongguang, so he hurriedly said, "Uncle, we're a big company. We can survive without them. Don't worry, Uncle. Lucy just debuted a few months ago and she's already gaining popularity, right? I'll definitely groom a few more A-listers and superstars for you." Chapter 828. So cool that I nearly turned gay. Chu Hongguang glanced sideways at Cai Yongsheng. He obviously knew the abilities of his own nephew. A hint of menace flashed across Cai Yongsheng's eyes and he continued, "Uncle, we can't let this incident go just like that. We have to teach them a little lesson. Otherwise, the company would be a mess if the other artists simply left whenever they're a bit upset, right?" Out of all of them, the only one with a little influence was Yimu Fan, and he's an unwanted dog of his family. We don't have to be afraid of the others at all. They'll find out it's not so easy to survive in the entertainment industry sooner or later. Yi Bai is so shameless. Everyone in the industry just listened to him out of respect for Worldwide and Uncle. He really thinks he's so great and important, huh? We have to teach them a lesson this time. Then Gong Su and Luo Chen would obediently return to the company for sure. Chu Hongguang looked coldly at Yi Bai's check for the housing debt, contract termination document, and resignation letter on his desk. With everything in this state, Yi Bai can't return anymore. Since I can't use him anymore, he must be destroyed. After they left Dazzling's office, they reserved a booth at Blue's bar. "Yi, you were so cool just now. So cool that I nearly turned gay." Gong Su was still burning with excitement and was about to pounce onto Yi Wanwan as he spoke. Before Gong Su could get closer, Yi Mu Fan extended his arm and grabbed him tightly to stop him. He warned, "Hey dude, who are you throwing yourself at? Just stick to talking. Don't try to get fresh." Gong Su was upset. "What's wrong with me pouncing on Yi Ji? Who are you to stop me?" "Because I'm..." Yi Mu Fan was tongue-tied. He was about to continue when Yi Wanwan gave him a side-eye and he was forced to swallow this phrase. "Because I'm her older brother." "Stop messing around. Let's talk properly. Have the two of you thought about it carefully?" Yi Wanwan looked at Gong Su and Luo Chen. Gong Su slapped his chest immediately. "Do we still need to think? Yi Ji, don't worry about it. You're the wind and I'm the sand. I'll definitely follow you to the ends of the world. If you don't leave me, I'll stick with you in life and death. If you..." Yi Wanwan was about to have a headache and supported her head as she cut him off. All right. Luo Chen, what about you?" Luo Chen's eyes didn't waver at all. Instead, in them was a clear brightness he never had while he was working at Dazzling. "Yi Ji, if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be the Luo Chen you see today. If it wasn't for you, I might still be under Zhou Wenbin, living in a world without justice. As the saying goes, a gentleman will die for the patron who recognizes his worth. I won't change my words. I'll go wherever you go. We'll just be starting over." When Gong Su heard Luo Chen's words, he felt Luo Chen said it better and was jealous. "So what if you're cultured?" "Big deal." Yi Mu Fan looked at Yi Wanwan. "Have you thought about which company we'll be joining?" Yi Wanwan raised her brows. "Why can't we start our own company?" "Start our own company?" Yi Mu Fan, Gong Su, and Luo Chen looked at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin. Her eyes glistened and she flashed a smile. "I have a stylist who'll be renowned as the king of the fashion industry in the future, and I have 2 international superstars of tomorrow. I don't want to let my own fertile water flow into others' fields." Gong Su's eyes lit up instantly and his chest was surging with excitement. Future superstars. Are you talking about me?" "Ah. Yi Ji, you have really great taste and you're absolutely right. You can't let your fertile water, me, flow into others' fields. Let's start our own company then." As the actor with the least acting skills, Gong Su accepted this title without any shame at all. Chapter 829. Young Master is the true swan. Yi Mu Fan and Luo Chen still found Yi Wanwan's words quite unbelievable while Gong Su had already started to envision his future free of obstacles. The two of them were somewhat speechless, but were also ignited by the spark in Yi Wanwan's eyes. Okay. The two of them replied at the same time. After they had a discussion, the four people decided to set up their company, by each investing a sum of money. But they had a fatal flaw right now. They were broke. Yi Wanwan used all her money to pay off the house, and after she used her last paycheck to make the final payment, she didn't have much money left. Although Gong Su earned a lot, he spent even more. The word savings didn't exist in his dictionary at all. As for Luo Chun, he just started working and hadn't earned much. After careful calculation, they would still need a lot more even if they pooled all their money together. They needed money for registering the company and investing in the next movie that the company would be shooting. The upcoming movie they were going to shoot was very crucial. If they failed, the company's funding would be cut off. This bit of investment isn't enough for sure. Aside from Gong Su and Luo Chun as the main leads, we'll need to hire others too. The cost of the venue and special effects will definitely cost a lot. Yi Mu Fan mumbled. Gong Su said carelessly, "We'll just earn more if we don't have enough. From now on, Luo Chun and I will go all out to accept assignments and endorsements. We'll work hard." Yi Mu Fan was doubtful. "I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Chu Hongguang will definitely come in our way and won't let us have an easy time." Just half an hour ago, Yi Wanwan, Yi Mu Fan, Gong Su, and Luo Chun announced their departure from Dazzling Media on their Weibo accounts. At this moment, there was quite a big commotion on the internet. Gong Su was looking through Weibo and suddenly stomped his feet in anger. "Fuck, we already left the company, yet Kai Yongsheng, that bastard, is still using us for our fame." The show they recorded with Lucy Yang, Totally in Love, had already been broadcasted and stirred up some juicy gossip. The rumors on the internet were now saying that these two people had fallen out with Dazzling because of Lucy Yang. Damn. This Lucy Yang is too attractive, huh? She just arrived at Dazzling a couple days ago, and actually caused two of Dazzling's most popular artists to fight so badly. Never mind Gong Su. Why is Luo Chun like that too? Give me my clean and pure Prince Charming back. But Lucy Yang was really quite outstanding. Highly educated with a high EQ, she's beautiful and acts well. There aren't many true goddesses in the industry anymore. And Gong Su is simply a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. I seriously suspect that those two people did something outrageous to our Lucy and were chased out of the company. Yi Mu Fan's face was filled with mockery as he read on. It was so obvious that they actually paid these commenters. The comments were all in the paid commenters' playing field. And whenever someone spoke badly about Lucy Yang, his or her comment would be pushed to the back very quickly by the paid commenters. Gong Su was enraged. Stupid farts. Young master is the true swan, alright? Yi Mu Fan. Why is this guy always paying attention to something else? At the same time, Fashion Magazine released a statement that made it onto the Hot Topics list. Beauty released a preview photo of Gong Su and Lucy Yang together. Everybody knew Gong Su and Lucy Yang started forming ties when they were shooting for the cover of Beauty. This week's cover and the interviews inside were all regarding Gong Su and Lucy Yang. Hence, the gossipy crowd swarmed over like bees. They brought their melon seeds and stools, in an attempt to seek out more juicy gossip. This week's beauty magazine would definitely be sold out the moment it went on sale. Chapter 831. Pretty good luck. Kai Yongli was stunned for a while, then he knitted his brows and said, "Luo Chen? You want to have two grown men on the cover together? Mr. Yi, we're a fashion magazine that targets the female audience, and we've always had female artists on the cover ever since we started. We've never had two male artists together before." Kai Yongli thought Yi Wanwan had one more artist under her, so after she made such a ridiculous suggestion, he couldn't help but feel quite dissatisfied with her lack of professionalism. As for Kai Yongli's doubts, Yi Wanwan already anticipated them beforehand, so she laughed. "Chief Editor Kai, men have the consumption power, and it's exactly because your magazine targets the female audience that this arrangement might spark an unexpected outcome, right?" What Yi Wanwan didn't mention was the enormous group of closeted, crazy consumers. Right now in the entertainment industry, nobody could ever expect this market to have such a huge influence in the future. Yi Wanwan was about to continue when an anxious voice of a woman could be heard from his end. "Chief Editor, if we can't find someone, We'll have an empty cover for the upcoming issue. Where are the backup photos I got you to pick from? Those won't do, Chief Editor. The quality is horrendous, so we can't use them. What should we do? We'll be trampled by beauty once again. But our priority right now is still to get someone on the cover for this issue. The sales for it is secondary. After a moment, Kai Yongsheng said something to his subordinate and returned to the phone. Mr. Yi, we'll have the shoot first thing tomorrow morning. Is that okay? Yi Wanwan. Of course. After she hung up, Yi Wanwan had a calm look. At first, she thought she would have to be more convincing and add in more twists and turns, but things went her way and saved her the hassle. Those female artists who Vivi appointed initially had flaked out on them, which caused them to be in a frenzy to find someone at the last minute. They could collaborate with other magazines, but the influence of the other magazines wasn't comparable to Vivi's at all. In the realm of celebrity catfights today, aside from the red carpet and filming opportunities, magazine covers also illuminated the status of a celebrity in the fashion world. In the fashion world, the chief editor of top fashion magazines practically possessed a supreme right. The designers and models recommended by them would instantly become popular, and this applied to stars as well. When editors put them out there, that created a trademark for that individual. With a magazine like Vivi, the number of artists clamoring for the cover was overwhelming. There were no artists who would dare let a chance like this go. So it would have been nearly impossible for Yi Wanwan to get through normally. However, in recent years, the competition in the fashion industry had become more and more intense. Although the power of Vivi was there still, their concept was too backdated. In recent years, they'd gradually begun to decline. After she ended the call, Yi Wanwan turned to her two artists. Their images counteracted one another, and they were complete opposites as well. One was an arrogant and overbearing tease while the other had a calm, introverted and cold personality. Why didn't I notice this before? These two kids really feel like a CP1. Feeling somewhat afraid, Gongsu couldn't help but mutter. Yiji, are you worried about something? You have a strange look in your eyes. Yi Wanwan coughed lightly and retracted her gaze. She nagged them. Go to bed early and don't stay up late. We'll be doing a shoot for the cover of Vivi's magazine tomorrow morning. Chapter 832. The name matches the reality. Gongsu sighed dispiritedly. Vivi. They're not as awesome as fashion. Yi Mufan gave him side-eye. How could you criticize them? It's already good enough that they didn't criticize you. With Vivi being a really established fashion magazine in China, they have extremely strict requirements for their artists' reputations. Everyone in their magazines is top-tier artists. If it wasn't for our good luck, how could you possibly have had a chance to be on the cover? What's wrong with you? Young Master is also quite popular, alright. Gongsu whined. Luochen spoke up. Are Gongsu and I shooting together? Yi Wanwan nodded. Yes, I fought for a two-person cover. Yi Wanwan didn't tell them much about it. She wanted them to be natural during the shoot to leave the rest to the public's imagination. Yi Wanwan. If there's no problems, we'll confirm the shoot. Also Luochen, I sent you a copy of the script I showed Gongsu before. I didn't send it to you earlier because you had better projects, but right now, I can only get you to be on this drama series with Gongsu. After all, they had limited crew members, and would need a huge sum to hire other artists. Luochen hurriedly said. Nah, not at all. I read the outline of the script. It has a really good story. Yi Mufan casually asked. Then who's the main lead and supporting actor? Judging from the acting of these two people, the main lead would definitely be Luochen, and the supporting actor would be Gongsu. With Gongsu's character, what if he starts fighting with Luochen? Yi Wanwan replied. They're both the male leads. Luochen's character is a gunman from the special forces while Gongsu is acting as a hedonistic son of rich parents. Yi Mufan nodded. This is pretty good and their roles are quite suitable. Where did you get this script from and who's the screenwriter? Yi Wanwan looked into the distance. After a bit, I'll take you guys to meet him. Yi Wanwan then turned to Gongsu and Luochen and warned them. The assignment for the two of you right now is to study the script attentively and prepare for the filming. I'll be getting someone to give the two of you some special training. As for the registration of the company and formation of a crew, just leave it to Felix and me. Luo Chen. All right, Yi. Gongsu. Yes, sir. After some discussion between the four of them, Yimu Fan recalled something and hurriedly said, hold on, I almost forgot about one important matter. We still have to discuss what we're going to name our company. I'm bad at coming up with names. You guys think about it. Luo Chen looked at Yi Wanwan. We'll leave it to Yi Ji to decide. Gongsu suggested excitedly, the four of us established this company, so why don't we call it the Four Heavenly Kings Film Industry? Yi Wanwan. Gongsu blinked. Isn't it good? What about booming awesome entertainment? Yi Wanwan sighed. Shut up and let me think. Gongsu sat down obediently. Oh, actually, Yi Wanwan wasn't really good at coming up with names either, and after some thought, she suddenly had inspiration. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin. Why don't we call ourselves Age of the Immortals? How about that? Luo Chen. It's pretty good. Anything Yi Ji says is good. Gongsu's eyes lit up. Wah. That's cool. It's very domineering. I like it. Yimu Fan burst out in laughter. Isn't it a little too arrogant? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Let it be then, the name matches the reality. The moment Yi Wanwan said that, there was a surging tide in all three of their hearts. All right. Chapter 833. Giving out red packets. After the four of them were done with their discussion, they left and went their own ways. At the entrance of the bar, Yi Wanwan asked Yimu Fan, we definitely have to move out of the apartment after resigning. Where do you plan on living? Gongsu has always had his own place, while Luo Chen already bought a place he could move into at any time. Yimu Fan replied, I'm definitely moving back home. I've been wanting to move back to stay with mom and dad, and now's the right time. I already told them and they're really happy. What about you? Do you want to go back with me? Yi Wanwan said, I want to, but it's quite inconvenient for me to go back due to my identity as Yi Bai. I already bought a courtyard in the suburbs of Beijing at a low price, and although it's a bit old, it won't be bad after a bit of cleaning up. It's really quiet too. Yimu Fan frowned. How could I let you live alone in such a faraway place? Yi Wanwan replied casually, Don't worry about me. I hired a few servants, and furthermore, my boyfriend will come over often to keep me company. The mercenaries she rescued in Myanmar had already been disguised as servants and were arranged to live in the courtyard. Yimu Fan. The last sentence is the key. It's hard to keep a grown girl at home. Yi Wanwan already arranged for someone to move her luggage from the apartment to the new place while she was on the business trip. Hence, after she parted with Yimu Fan, she headed straight to the suburbs. Yi Wanwan stopped the car outside the entrance of the courtyard. She saw a small two-story building, and there was a glass greenhouse in the courtyard. Although it was slightly old, it looked very stylish. It had a rustic atmosphere, and it was away from the hustle and bustle of the city. It gave off a sense of paradise. This used to be an architect's home, so it had a great layout. But since the couple moved abroad years earlier, it became deserted. As soon as the sound of the car engine was heard, a petite figure rushed out from the courtyard. Master, you're back. When the little Lolita mercenary, wearing a lovely maid outfit, rushed out and saw Yi Wanwan in her men's clothes, her eyes bugged straight out at her. Master is so handsome. I'm going to faint. Although Master already told them she also had a male identity, she didn't think Master would look so incredibly handsome in menswear. Soon, four other people came out to the courtyard. There was a fat man in a chef's outfit, an old man dressed as a housekeeper with a swallow-tailed coat, a long-haired man wearing rain boots while holding a pair of shears for branches and leaves, and a bearded man dressed as a security guard. They all stood in a row and said in unison, Master, welcome home. Upon seeing how well-mannered they were, Yi Wanwan nodded in satisfaction. Not bad, much better than the MLM group of 5. Master, Heidi has already prepared the meal. May I know when you'd like to have dinner? The elderly mercenary asked respectfully. Yi Wanwan replied, In half an hour. Yi Wanwan sat on the couch in the living room while fiddling with her phone, deep in thought. She sent Nameless Nya a text. But why hadn't she heard from him for so many days? For convenience's sake, she added the 5 of them on WeChat and established a WeChat group. Thus, Yi11 directly sent a message in the WeChat group. Is anyone there? But after waiting for some time, the group was still quiet and no one replied. Are they all busy? Yi11 rubbed her chin and waited for a while longer. There was still no reply, so she casually tapped on her phone and sent the group a red pocket containing $1. Nameless Nya received your red pocket. Spray of flowers received your red pocket. Devotee received your red pocket. Little Sweetie Eyes and Joro received your red pocket. Dead Man received your red pocket. Yi11. Chapter 834. Prepared a big feast. Yi11 was completely speechless. She asked them a question and nobody answered, but when she sent out red pockets, every one of them snatched one within seconds. Famous Yi. Yi11 sent an ellipsis in the group chat. After they snatched up the red pockets, there was silence once again like it was a dead group. Yi11 didn't buy it, and sent another red pocket in the group chat. It was still snatched up in seconds. Looking at the record of these 5 people grabbing the red pockets, Yi11 was speechless. Upon seeing that it was almost dinner time, Yi11 placed her phone down, went upstairs to shower and changed her clothes. When she came back downstairs, the dishes were all ready. Yi11 sat down and took a bite. To her surprise, it tasted pretty good. Master, how is it? Heidi stammered and stood by the side, afraid that the Black Widow would take it out on her if the food wasn't to her liking. If he was better looking, there might be a chance he could be her boy toy, but with his looks, the Black Widow would only treat him as fertilizer. 1. Not bad. Haha, that's good, that's good. To be quite honest, I used to be a chef but I haven't cooked in a long time. I'm really out of practice now. Master, don't worry, I'll get better at it. Heidi tried his best to show his loyalty. I won't disturb Master any longer. Please enjoy your meal. In the kitchen, 5 people were huddled inside, gossiping. Little Lolita peeped at Yi11, who was in the living room, and exclaimed, Wow, Master looks beautiful when she's dressed as a woman and looks dashing when she's dressed as a man. She even looks quite easygoing. The fatty glared at her. Stupid girl, what do you know? That's just on the surface. She kills people like scything flax, bathes in human blood and feeds human bones to the dogs. Easygoing? It'll be your doomsday if she gets mad. The bearded man nodded his head continuously. Exactly. The long-haired man was worried. We're living under the same roof. How are we going to live with her? What if Master isn't in a good mood one day? Wouldn't that be the end for all of us? The bearded man and Fatty looked at one another then revealed sinister smiles. Don't worry about that. Fatty and I already prepared for it. Prepared? What did you guys prepare? The long-haired man didn't understand. Prepare what? Prepare what? Little Lolita probed. Move aside. We prepared a big meal for the lady, smirked the fatty. Long-haired man. Feast? Little Lolita. In the living room, Yi11 was enjoying her meal. At first, she invited Si Yihan over to take a look at her new place, but he had something at the last minute, and had to go on a business trip so he couldn't make it. Just as she was about to go to work after eating, there were footsteps at the door. Sorry to disturb. Hello. A man suddenly appeared at the door. The man was handsome and had a great figure. His charisma was comparable to a superstar's. Out of habit, Yi11 sized the man up carefully and her eyes lit up slightly. If 10 marks was a full score, this man scored at least a 9. After that, Yi11 looked at this stranger suspiciously. You are? The man appeared a little nervous and walked over to Yi11 carefully, like she was some terrifying beast. Yi11 frowned. What? The man pursed his lips and didn't speak. He simply took off his coat and revealed an unexpectedly translucent shirt inside. And there was even a black necklace around his neck. Then the man leaned over and knelt in front of Yi11. I'm here to serve you, madam. Please, madam, enjoy at will. Yi11. What the hell? Chapter 835. Play any games you like, serve. Enjoy. Yi Wanwan looked at that man before her dressed in a translucent top with a black collar around his neck, and was completely stunned. She couldn't react at all. She merely wanted a proper meal at home. What was happening here? The man noticed she wasn't speaking, so without a second thought, he started taking off that top which was so see-through that he was basically revealing everything. Yi Wanwan finally came back to her senses and hurriedly stopped him. Cough. Wait. What on earth are you doing? History always has shocking similarities. Why do people keep stripping before me lately? The man said anxiously. Madam, are you unsatisfied with me? Unsatisfied? What do I need to be satisfied with? Yi Wanwan pinched her brows. Get up first and put your clothes on properly. At this moment, the 5 people peeping from the kitchen were panicking. What's going on? This doesn't make any sense. Master actually asked him to put on his clothes? Is it because this man isn't good enough and Master doesn't like him? I don't think so. I hired him from the black market at a high price. Look at his body, his face. Weird, when did the Black Widow start being a vegetarian? Yi Wanwan, bro, could you speak properly? What's with this guy? Is he trying to bribe me? But that couldn't be it, as she was in her normal female outfit right now, and this person wasn't surprised at all. So he couldn't be someone from the entertainment industry. Yi Wanwan pinched her brows. Whoever you are, get out. Madam. The guy was shocked. After all, he hadn't made any mistakes. But why? Yi Wanwan glanced at him and said casually, You're right, I'm not satisfied. The man froze. This was an insult to him. Madam, sometimes you can't be too sure. I can say that none of my clients were unsatisfied with me after they tried. The man spoke and tore his shirt off at the same time. Yi Wanwan was speechless. Why doesn't this person listen? Just as she was about to speak, a cold and clear voice came from the door. What are you guys doing? Yi Wanwan's soul flew out of her body. Every inch of hair on her body stood on end, and she turned her neck rigidly to look. She saw that the main door wasn't closed and Si Han, who was supposed to be on a business trip, was standing at the door. There was an icy aura all around him like a demon from hell. Fuck. Yi Wanwan looked at the man wearing an indecent shirt, then turned to Si Han. She took at least 3 seconds before she reacted. No, Si Han, I can explain. Si Han's gaze swept across the interior of the house. It was as if there was an unmelting frost that covered his face. There wasn't a hint of warmth at all. Darkness spread in his eyes like a beast who could tear a person apart in the next second. Seems like I came at the wrong time. Before the beast inside his body lost control and charged out of its cage, he turned around and left immediately. Yi Wanwan looked at this scene and panicked. She hurriedly caught up with him, but the man with the collar was blocking her way. Madam, who is he? Fuck. Who is he? He's my... Upon realizing that Si Han was about to leave, panic started to engulf Yi Wanwan. She gritted her teeth, stepped directly onto the dining table, and leaped across before she finally caught up to Si Han. With a loud thud, she stood behind him and slammed the door shut. Si Han had nowhere to go. He turned around slowly with his frosty eyes that looked as though they could lose control at any moment, and he looked at the girl who was panting. Get out of the way. I'm dead. He looks like he's really fuming this time. Yi Wanwan put on a sad face and was about to cry. Wifey, there are outsiders here. Could you please give me some face? Si Han. At the same time, Yi Wanwan roared. The 5 of you, get over here right now. She thought wrongly just now. How could that be a bribe? She had 5 experts guarding this place so nobody could walk in and out of here whenever they pleased unless they were the ones who set it up. She even thought these people were reliable. Seriously. Very soon, the 5 of them came out of the kitchen one after another. And Master, you called for us? Chapter 836. The man wearing the black collar froze when he saw Si Han. Just a second ago, he always believed that there was absolutely no woman who could resist his charms. He assumed this woman wasn't satisfied with him only because she hadn't tried him yet. But when he saw the man at the door, he finally understood the difference between heaven and earth. It was no wonder this woman showed no change in expression when she saw him. The 5 mercenaries were about to break down. Originally, they wanted to gain some brownie points and curry favor with their new master, but who knew that they would get caught in the act by the main wife. While they were spying from the kitchen, they wondered why the legendary Black Widow, who was known for not discriminating between any males, was suddenly a vegetarian. But now it suddenly dawned on them that it wasn't that she was a vegetarian, but she was henpecked. Truly, as the saying went, everything has its weakness. Who would have thought that the Black Widow, who had no lack of men, would fall head first for this man? In the living room, the 5 of them drifted into their own thoughts. Yuanwan didn't care what they were thinking. She looked at each and every one of them as she said, "Tell me exactly who this person is and why he's in the house all of a sudden." At this moment, Yuanwan was suppressing her anger. Her eyes were gloomy and she was even scarier than Si Han standing next to her. The 5 of them were so scared that their legs were trembling. They looked at one another and didn't dare to utter a word. Little Lolita hid behind the old housekeeper. Master, I don't know anything." The fatty tweaked his ears and scratched his cheeks, then blurted out, "Master, he's the new servant we just hired." Bearded Man exclaimed, "Master, he's an assassin." Yuanwan, could the 2 of you get some agreement between your statements before talking? This will cause my death, all right? Actually, Yuanwan didn't need to think any further to know what was going on. Finally, after pinching her brows, she waved at them. "Take the man away. Hurry up." Having this man here was like holding a ticking time bomb. Hurry and take him out of Si Han's sight. The fat man and the bearded man nodded, then immediately got up to get the man to leave. "Leave quickly, go. Quick, quick, quick." The man picked up his clothes from the ground and stood up slowly, then walked towards the door. As he brushed past Yuanwan, he glanced at Si Han, then looked at Yuanwan and said softly, "Madam, no wonder you weren't satisfied with me. I admit I really can't compare with him in terms of appearance, but what?" Yuanwan frowned. She suddenly had this feeling that his next sentence wasn't going to be good. The man paused, chuckled, then continued to speak. "But madam, you can't just judge a man by his appearance. If he's too boring, he would just be nothing more than a decoration. Don't you agree, madam?" "YWW. Agree your father." The man flashed an ambiguous smile and lowered his voice, but Si Han could still hear him. "Madam, if you change your mind, you can still call me anytime. For you, I can give it to you free of charge." Yuanwan. When the man finished speaking, he turned and left. The 5 mercenaries were trembling so badly that they started to rub their hands instinctively. Damn, why does it feel so cold all of a sudden? Running faster than a rabbit, the 5 people slipped away very quickly. Finally, there was only Yuanwan left in the living room, facing a great devil whom she didn't have the guts to look at. Damn it, I got into trouble even when I was just sitting at home minding my own business. Chapter 837. Yuanwan grabbed Si Han's arm and tried her best to explain. "Even if you gave me 100 guts, I still wouldn't dare to look at other men. It's those unreliable fools' fault for taking matters in their own hands. I'm also a victim here. Also, that guy is obsessed with appearances. If he only looks at appearances, what about personality?" Yuanwan rambled for a long time, but at this moment, explanations didn't matter to Si Han anymore. "Si Han, let go before I start to regret things. Before I lose control." Yuanwan obviously wouldn't let him go at this time. When lovers fought, it was fine if they ended the fight and made up on the spot, but if they left the conflict for a period of time, that problem would become more troublesome for sure. Especially for someone like Si Han, who thought a lot and kept to himself. If this was the Si Han from before, things would have turned bloody ages ago. But right now, he was deliberately suppressing his own emotions, and he wanted to leave because he wasn't sure what he would do if he went out of control. Air 9th Master, Miss Wanwan Sui 11 and Feng Xianyi appeared at the door. The 3 of them were holding bags of daily necessities in their hands. Si Han probably instructed them to purchase them since he knew Yuanwan was moving. Seeing this made Yuanwan feel even more guilty. Darn it, Si Han just returned from his business trip and rushed over to give these things to me, but in the end he actually witnessed that scene, and that wasn't the first time. Sui felt that the atmosphere was a bit off, so he probed carefully. What's going on? Yuanwan had a headache and whined. Went whoring and got caught by your master. Sui. 11 was stunned. Fengxiani duang. 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 Their jaws dropped. Sui. Miss Wanwan, what are you saying? 11 was shocked. Whoring? The three of them became mutes at the same time. Yi Wanwan pinched her brows and glanced at the three of them. All of you, put the things down and leave immediately. The three of them looked at each other and didn't understand what Yi Wanwan meant. Sui, who was trying his best to mediate the situation, was taken aback. Why? Yi Wanwan sighed. Her fair fingers stroked Si Yihan's collar, then she spoke softly. Because the next scene might not be suitable for kids. Si Yihan. Sui 11 Fengxiani. In the next second, the three of them put the bags down and instantly disappeared without a trace. They followed orders really well. Upon seeing that the three of them had disappeared, Yuanwan used some force to pull Si Yihan closer, and she moved towards him with her peach blossom pink, soft lips. Si Yihan narrowed his eyes. His head was telling him that this was the tactic she always used. The fire around his chest was about to burn him to ashes, and it was telling him that he should push her away at this moment. However, his body didn't want to cooperate at all, and remained still. Instead, Yuanwan suddenly stopped when they were so close to one another that they could feel each other's breath. Si Yihan's expression turned frosty. Wait. Yuanwan narrowed her eyes and pulled out a hairpin from her hair, then swish. She flung it towards a certain direction. A certain fatty, who was peeping from the corner, wailed loudly, followed by the footsteps of those 5 people fleeing in disarray. Finally, the courtyard was in total silence. Yuanwan clapped, then kissed her beauty. All's good now, Si Yihan. Chapter 838. In the end, when Yuanwan was about to kiss him, Si Yihan actually tilted his head and evaded her kiss. There was a layer of ice in his eyes. Rather than anger, it looked more like helplessness and annoyance. Yuanwan's face dropped when she didn't get to kiss him. She then said angrily, So be it. Si Yihan, who do you think you are? How could you treat me this way? Do you know you're being so hateful? Although the group of 5 was chased away by Yuanwan, Sui and the other 2 weren't far away as they were worried. They hid in a corner at a distance. 11, who had excellent hearing, heard what Yuanwan said and panicked. Oh dear, they're going to fight. Sui froze. No way. Why? Miss Wanwan knows how to size up the situation. She also knows how to coax 9th Master. Why would she start fighting with him? 11's head was aching and he said, Under such circumstances, there's no use even if she coaxed him, right? Sui was anxious. What should we do? As expected, after listening to Yuanwan's words, Si Yihan's face turned ugly and his tone was as cold as ice. What did you say? Yuanwan threw caution to the wind. She folded her sleeves and exploded in fury. I said, Who do you think you are? Just because you're slightly better looking, have longer legs and a higher IQ, and are very comfortable to hug, you're just relying on the fact that I like you, fell head over heels for you, and fell so deep that I don't feel a thing even when a naked man stands in front of me. Si Yihan. A distance away. 11 was dumbfounded. Amazing. That actually worked? As they were too far away, Sui couldn't hear clearly and he probed urgently. What's the situation? What did Miss Wanwan say? What did she say? Why does the atmosphere feel so terrifying? 11 looked at Sui with a complicated gaze. Housekeeper Su, you wouldn't want to know. Fengxiani nodded as well. Sui. Alright, I already got a hunch that I'll be stuffed with dog food. You. Si Yihan wasn't able to speak at all. Yuanwan was still mad and complained nonstop. I hate you the most. Don't you know how attractive and charming you are? Why are you being jealous like other people? Si Yihan pinched the bridge of his nose. Shut up. Yuanwan was infuriated. No, I want to speak. In the next second, Yuanwan stopped talking and the rest of her words lingered on her lips. Si Yihan's thin lips covered hers. His sharp teeth rubbed against her soft lips, then he bit down harshly, fuming with rage between gritted teeth. From the past till now, I've I've always been this way. I never, ever gave her a way out. Yuanwan smirked. Thought you weren't going to kiss me. I was speaking the truth, okay? Why didn't you let me speak? In this world, you're probably the person with the least possibility of having any connections with the word jealous. But in the end, from men to women, from humans to animals, you're always either jealous or about to be jealous. Amazing. A man's heart is like a needle deep at the bottom of the sea. I really don't know what you're thinking. Si Yihan's dark eyes were glued to the girl's angry and confused little face. Because it's you. Chapter 839. In the living room. Yuanwan and Si Yihan sat on the sofa. The 5 mercenaries didn't even dare to breathe too loudly as they stood in a row, trembling while awaiting their punishment. Yuanwan scanned all of them sternly. Do you guys have any idea who this guy next to me is? The fatty blurted out nervously. Yes. Wife of our leader. Yuanwan nearly choked on her saliva, and she glared at the fatty with a head full of black lines. The fatty hurriedly changed his words. No, he's our master. He will be our male master in future. Yuanwan coughed then said in a serious manner. Glad you guys know that. Next time, don't come up with all these messy and filthy plans. Do I really look like a lecherous and perverted person? Group of 5. Yes, you really look like one, okay. It was rumored that the Black Widow had tens of thousands of boy toys, okay. They shook their heads and said in unison. No. Master, you're the most loyal and dependable person on earth. You view other men as dirt. Yuanwan was satisfied only after hearing that. And remember that. Go back downstairs. It was as if they received amnesty and they ran as quickly as they could. After the 5 people left, Yuanwan hurriedly expressed her loyalty. Haha baby, don't worry. In this world, I'm only charmed by you. Finally, Yuanwan managed to survive this calamity. The next day, Yuanwan arrived at Vivi Magazine's studio alive. In the studio, the workers were having a chat. The makeup assistant sighed while swiping through Weibo. Have you guys seen it? Beauty Magazine's sales volume this week already topped 10,000. The lighting technician was surprised and exclaimed, so high? It's double the usual. They've broken another record. The little assistant sighed. Oh well, everyone loves gossip and scandals. This time, with Gong Su and Lucy Yang being such hot topics, and also with Gong Su leaving dazzling at the same time, it was guaranteed that their sales would explode. It's too bad the artist flaked out on us for this week's issue. We'll be the laughing stock once again when this issue is out. The lighting technician asked. Oh right, who's the replacement artist the chief editor contacted? The little assistant replied. I heard it's Gong Su. The lighting technician was shocked. What? Gong Su again? Are they trying to compete with beauty? If we copy Vivi and choose the same artist but still lose, wouldn't it be better for us to lose for being flaked out on instead of trying to copy them? Exactly. It would be so embarrassing. At this moment, the photographer, Xiao Yutong, clapped and said, Stop chatting. The artist will be here soon. The moment he said that, footsteps arrived at the door. Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan walked in together with Gong Su and Luo Chen. Ah, it's Gong Su. He's so handsome. The little assistant shrieked. Even if they were quite used to seeing good-looking men in their line of work, Gong Su's individual style and charisma with his dashing looks were quite attractive indeed. The lighting technician said suspiciously, Why's Luo Chen here too? I heard the two of them would be shooting for the cover together today, the little assistant replied. You're kidding. Why would we have 2 men on the cover? Did the chief editor lose his mind from being too provoked? Who knows what the chief editor is thinking? The little assistant muttered while she watched the 4 people walking in. They were a feast for her eyes. But Luo Chen and Gong Su are really too good-looking. And is that person next to them their manager? Even their manager is so handsome. Wow, who's that behind them, huh? Why's today's attractiveness indexes so high? Chapter 840. Due to stress, Chai Yongli was somewhat crabby. What's the fuss about? Go get ready. Yes. The group of people then scattered like birds and beasts. The photographer, Xiao Yutong, was wearing a light and comfortable dry-fit shirt and walked over in his little white sneakers. "Boss, what style theme are we shooting today?" Chai Yongli pinched his brows and tossed a stack of documents over. "Just follow this theme." Xiao Yutong glanced at it. It was a modern style that conformed with societal norms. Yi Wanwan strode over and said politely, "Teacher Xiao, Chief Editor Chai, could I discuss something with the both of you?" "What is it?" Chai Yongli knitted his brows. Yi Wanwan said, "I believe in both of your professionalism, but as a manager, I think there's no other person who would understand my artists better. Here are a couple themes I came up with for Gongsu and Luochen according to their styles. The outfits were designed by Felix, and if Chief Editor Chai and Teacher Xiao find them suitable, maybe we could give them a go?" Chai Yongli looked at Yi Wanwan, then took the proposal from her. At first, he flipped through it quickly, but when he reached the last few pages, his expression froze and he looked intently at the contents. He had to admit that because of the pressure from beauty in addition to the female star flaking out on him, he already knew he would lose, so he didn't really put in much effort into the theme. However, at this moment, the proposal Yi Bai handed to him evidently showed a lot of effort put into it. Yi Wanwan didn't rush them, and merely stood by the side quietly. "Yutong, look at this." Chai Yongli passed the proposal to the photographer. Xiao Yutong glanced at it, and his eyes lit up. "This design is quite interesting. I think we can give it a go." He then turned to Yi Wanwan and apologized. "Mr. Yi, really sorry about it. Because of time constraints, we weren't able to prepare properly." Yi Wanwan didn't mind and said, "Don't worry about it. If it wasn't for that artist flaking out, we wouldn't be so lucky to have gotten the chance to be on the cover." Chai Yongli and Xiao Yutong felt much better after hearing what Yi Wanwan said. After some thought, Chai Yongli said to Yi Wanwan, "Mr. Yi, we'll go with the theme you proposed then." Yi Wanwan, "Thank you so much, Chief Editor Chai." After they settled on the theme, Luo Chun and Gong Su entered the dressing room to get ready. The workers were fixing up the backdrop, and the photographer was adjusting the lighting while Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan waited on the sofa. Yi Mufan looked worried. "Wanwan, having two men on the cover together, will that really work?" Even though he was very confident in his designs for the two of them, logically speaking, having two men on the cover couldn't compare to having a man and woman, right? Yi Wanwan didn't explain further. "We'll see when the end product is out." Yi Mufan, "I guess." After they waited for a while, Gong Su walked out of the dressing room. The moment everyone saw Gong Su, their eyes glistened. Gong Su's hair was temporarily dyed wine red. He was dressed in a flashy orange leather flight jacket paired with Dr. Martin's boots. There were a few bloodstains drawn on the corners of his lips and porcelain face, and there was also a faintly discernible little snaggletooth at the side of his mouth. Following that, Luo Chen also walked out of the dressing room. Chapter 841. Luo Chen had jet black short hair, fierce brows, and his thin lips had an icy cold aura. He wore a vintage Western suit with an oversized coat on top. With the tailored fit, his legs looked perfectly straight and long, and he had a cross tattooed on the side of his neck. In his hands, he was holding a vintage totem gun. Gong Su and Luo Chen's styles immediately led people to think of a vampire and a hunter. Wow, so dashing. And the two of them have their own individual styles. It's simply a feast for the eyes, am I right? Humans were visual animals, and there was an uproar in the studio once again. The photographer, Xiao Yutong, looked at the two of them and laughed. "I suddenly feel like it's a pretty good idea to have two men on the cover together. A double feast for the eyes. Are the two handsome lads ready? If there are no issues, we can start with the shoot now." Gong Su hopped over to Xiao Yutong and whispered, "Pretty sister, make me look more handsome. Okay, I must be better looking than that guy." Xiao Yutong giggled. "Don't worry, you look good at any angle." "Pretty sister, you have good taste." Gong Su even gave Luo Chen a look to provoke him. Luo Chen, as usual, ignored him. "Idiot." "Shit. Who are you calling an idiot, huh? Try saying it again." "EGG, this guy is personally attacking me again." "Stop messing around, work hard." "EGG, you're biased." Xiao Yuyong watched the two of them interacting, and was quite surprised. Gong Su and Luo Chen's relationship didn't really seem like what the rumors were saying. Although they were bickering, it was more of a playful kind and it wasn't entirely like what the rumors were insinuating. They weren't as incompatible as water and fire. Initially, she was planning to see how it went and plan from there, but upon seeing these two people right now, she suddenly had inspiration and pulled the two of them over to talk about the effect she wanted. After listening to Xiao Yutong's expectations, the two of them went into character very quickly and started the shoot. First, the two of them stood with their backs against each other. On the right, Gong Su curled his lips into a sinister smile. He tilted his head towards the camera and used his finger to rub the blood stain on his lips. On the left, Luo Chen's eyes were slightly closed. The wind blower was blowing the back of his coat, and there was a mysterious air from that cross tattoo on his neck. One was unyielding while the other was quiet. One was evil while the other was just. One was the dark night while the other was the light. With the two of them standing together, it created a very stunning visual effect. Xiao Yutong was very satisfied and pointed at them. Fantastic. One more shot. This time, Gong Su, you'll lie on the floor. Your neck has to be tilted slightly upwards and your smile has to be as arrogant as possible. Luo Chen, you'll grab Gong Su's collar then point a gun at his heart. At the side, Yuanwan watched the shoot and heaved a sigh of relief. The effect was better than she expected. She believed that with a photographer like Xiao Yutong, she would be able to bring out the impact of these styles she prepared, and as expected, Xiao Yutong's creativity was in full force. The best cover shoots didn't make a person look handsome or beautiful but brought out a theme well. Like movies, magazine shoots had a story too. Very soon, the first set of shots was done. Compared to the first set that was more magical, the second set was more realistic and homely. The second set was done in a studio that was set up to look like a bedroom. Luo Chen wore a decent black suit and a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles while Gong Su wore a set of adorable velvet pajamas. Chapter 842. Xiao Yutong got the crew members to bring over lots of snacks. Gong Su, hug the snacks then sit on the sofa with your legs crossed. Gong Su stared at the large pile of junk food with glistening eyes. Then can I eat them? Yuanwan held her head. I knew it. Xiao Yutong chuckled. Just pretend to eat it. Don't really eat it. We can give them to you after the shoot. After that, she glanced at Yuanwan. But I'm not the decision maker when it comes to whether or not you can eat them. Gong Su immediately turned to Yuanwan and was about to act like a spoiled brat when Luo Chen, who was straightening his tie by the side, reminded him indifferently, let me remind you that your weight this month is over by 3 kilograms. Damn. So what if young master is a little fatter? Who are you to criticize me on my weight? Have you ever treated me to a bowl of rice or soup? Which piece of meat on my body has an obligation to listen to you? Have you ever treated me to beef, mutton, ham or sausage? Have you treated me to chicken, duck, goose, crab, prawn, abalone, shark's fin or bear's paw? Have you treated me to roast, steamboat or hot and spicy soup? Have you treated me to wontons, glutinous rice balls, noodles or sour and spicy skewers? Yuanwan, that's quite enough. Xiao Yutong was laughing when her eyes lit up and she hurriedly captured the present scene. Gong Su was hugging the snacks and looking at Luo Chen in a disgruntled manner while Luo Chen, who was still straightening his tie, had a look of disdain. Very soon, shooting the second set of pictures ended successfully. Yuanwan prepared 3 themes and at first, just 2 sets were enough, but because the results of the first 2 sets were really good, Xiao Yutong strongly recommended getting 3 sets done. The third set had to be done outdoors, so they had to book another time. Even though it was close to printing time and they were under such a tight schedule, Xiao Yutong still insisted on having 3 sets, so it was obvious she was quite pleased with the 2 of them. We'll continue the third set another day, and use 1 set as the cover. The others can be used for the content. Chief Editor, we'll need to get in touch with a scenic area. We need a bamboo forest. Sure, leave it to me, Chai Yongli said. Xiao Yutong laughed. Didn't expect the outcome of this shoot to be so good. I'm suddenly really confident about this cover, and even if we can't defeat beauty, the quality is definitely better. She then turned to Yi Wanwan and Yi Mu-fan and asked casually, "Oh right, are you guys going to find another company after leaving Dazzling? Or, we're going to set up our own company?" Yi Wanwan replied. "Ah, I see. It's not bad to manage things yourself. Mr. Yi, you're young and promising. You'll succeed for sure. Thank you." Xiao Yutong sized Yi Wanwan up with a thoughtful gaze and couldn't help but suggest, "Since we have some time left, why don't I take a group photo for the four of you for publicity of your new company?" Yi Wanwan was hesitant. Wouldn't that be too troublesome for you?" Xiao Yutong's eyes were never this bright before. She replied excitedly and eagerly, "Not at all, not at all. Might as well since we're at it." Yi Wanwan laughed. "Many people wouldn't be able to have this chance even if they begged you." Xiao Yutong was very famous in the industry. After Vivi lost power, many magazine publishers tried to poach her, including Beauty, but for the sake of old relations, she wasn't willing to leave. "Ow. Company photo. I want to shoot. Can I have a solo shot with Yi Ji?" Gong Su shouted from behind. Yi Mu-fan rolled his eyes at him. "Since it's a company photo, we should obviously have the four of us together. Why should he take a photo with you alone? Even if they could do a solo shot, it should be me and my sister, alright." Gong Su pouted. "Tisk, boring, both of you will pull down the attractiveness index of Yi Ji and me." Chapter 843. "Ha, I'll pull down their attractiveness index?" Yi Mu-fan raged. "You're pulling down all three of our IQ, alright?" Before the two of them could fight more, Yi Wanwan rushed over and pulled them apart. Alright, hurry and get changed." Gong Su scoffed coldly and leaned over to Yi Wanwan. "Yi Ji, let's change together." Yi Wanwan was speechless. "Are you in primary school, kid? Why do we have to go together?" Before Yi Mu-fan was triggered, Yi Wanwan hurriedly said, "You guys go ahead first. I have something I want to discuss with Chief Editor Chai." How could I even change with them? After some time, the four people finally changed their outfits and walked out of the dressing room one after another. When the four people appeared before everyone at the same time, all the staff in the studio let out a gasp. "Oh God! This is too pleasing to the eye." Indeed, a man was most attractive when he was in formal wear. Yi Bai and Felix's appearances weren't in the least bit inferior to the two artists. The four of them had their own individual characteristics when they stood together. Gong Su was brash and showy. Luo Chen was calm and introverted. Felix was talented and charming while Yi Bai was noble and languid. When the four of them stood together wearing the same suit, it was like a painting. It was simply pleasing to the eyes. Xiao Yutong's blood was ignited once again. She took her camera and said excitedly, "Let's do this, Mr. Yi. You'll sit in the middle with Gong Su on your right and Luo Chen on your left." Felix moved slightly to the back. "Mr. Yi, you don't have to change your expression. Just relax and remain casual." Yes, that's the way, perfect." Click, click, the clicking of the camera kept going and Xiao Yutong was completely focused on her work. Initially, she wanted to just take one photo for their publicity, but she ended up spending a long time on the shot. Xiao Yutong showed the photos to Chief Editor Chai and said excitedly, "Chief Editor, look at these. What do you think?" Chai Yongli quickly browsed through the photos on the camera and was surprised. He immediately walked over to Yi Wanwan. "Mr. Yi, could we pick a few of these photos and insert them in this interview?" Yi Wanwan replied instantly, "Of course." They were promoting their future company for free, so why not? Following the shooting, Luo Chen and Gong Su followed Vivi magazine to S-City for the outdoor shoot, and the photo shoot for the cover ended smoothly. Yi Wanwan and Yi Mu-fan registered the company, rented an office building, then put up recruitment notices online to form a crew. At the same time, Dazzling Media was trying to squeeze out the last bit of value from Gong Su and Luo Chen. They spared no effort in using these two people to increase hype and tried various ways to beat them down. They told everyone in the industry to not work with them and banned the artists in worldwide from being associated with them in any way. As one of the leaders in the industry that was as equally established as Emperor Sky, many people gave face to worldwide. As a result, The new company was thrown into a difficult situation the moment it was set up, and didn't get a single assignment to date. The only project they had was a sanitary towel advertisement. Gong Su laid on the sofa and shook his legs. He didn't care at all. Why are you guys looking so glum? It's still an assignment, right? What's wrong with a sanitary towel ad? I'll do it. Who said only female artists can accept a sanitary towel advertisement? Luo Chen glanced at Gong Su. I'll do it. Gong Su glared at him. Move aside. At least young master has helped my girlfriends in buying them before. You're just a virgin. How could you even think of endorsing a sanitary towel ad? Do you know what they look like? You'd be cheating the consumers. Do you know that? Chapter 844. Luo Chen was speechless. Yi Wanwan looked at Gong Su. Are you sure you want to take this? Actually, she also thought this advertisement could be done. Although there weren't any examples now, in the near future, there would be quite a few male artists who endorse female products. Also, most of them were popular newbies and the results weren't bad. It was just that there wasn't anybody right now who was the pioneer in doing these kinds of endorsements. Gong Su rolled his eyes and giggled. Sure, but boss, I'm making such a huge sacrifice this time and taking so much for the team. Can I get a reward? Yi Wanwan. I really don't see which part of him is suffering. What reward do you want? Other than junk food. Gong Su hung his head low when he heard the last 4 words. No junk food then, I want some meat. Yi Wanwan. Can't you have other requests? Upon seeing how pitiful Gong Su was, Yi Wanwan's heart softened. Okay. At night, at a certain fashion party. The ballroom was filled with people in perfumed clothes and gorgeous hair. It was a grand party and fashion icons from all walks of life and superstars were gathered in one place. In the past, Chai Yongli had people all around him, but at this moment, he was alone with just a photographer, Xiao Yutong, next to him. In contrast, the chief editor of beauty magazine, Liang Chong, was surrounded by stars greeting him and speaking highly of him. This upcoming issue of Beauty hadn't even been officially put up for sale, yet it was already so popular and Liang Chong's status as the chief editor had risen as well. Congratulations, Chief Editor Liang. Seems like the sales for this issue will break the record again. It's been hard for the magazine industry these 2 years, but the pre-orders for Beauty have already reached close to 20,000 copies. Aside from Chief Editor Liang, who would have been able to achieve this? Liang Chong laughed. Everyone, you're too kind. It's all thanks to you guys for giving me face. Oh yes, who did Vivi invite for their cover shoot this time? Seem like the movie Queen. You see Faye? Someone asked. Beauty magazine's photographer, Yao Rue, glanced in Chai Yongli's direction on purpose and spoke loftily. Sifei already ended her contract with them. She only agreed to be on the cover for 1 week because of their past relations, but that Chai Yongli went overboard and had all sorts of requests that pissed Sifei off, so she didn't do the shoot in the end. She just confirmed her collaboration with us for the next issue. Tisk, that's too much, huh? Chai Yongli's concepts have long been outdated. Yet he still pretended to be smart and gave advice to the movie Queen. No wonder she was mad and wants to collaborate with Beauty instead. This is a wise choice. Xiao Yutong glanced coldly at the group of people around Liang Chong. In the past, these people were the ones who admired Chai Yongli's attitude for demanding perfection. But right now, they were saying he was pretending to be smart. It was like this in this industry. There weren't any forever friends, only forever benefits. Chai Yongli brushed them off. He was already used to such situations. He asked Xiao Yutong, "Have you prepared the pre-orders and announcement for this issue?" Xiao Yutong nodded. "I prepared them already." Finally, they managed to catch up and wouldn't have a blank issue. Otherwise, Vivi would really lose face this time. Too bad Vivi already lost its influence and would never be able to return to its former glory. Right at this moment, Kai Yongsheng and Lucy Yang entered the ballroom. The two of them stole the limelight, and everyone went up to chat with them the moment they arrived. Kai Yongsheng had a wide smile as he walked over with Lucy Yang. Chief Editor Liang, congratulations on the huge sales volumes. Liang Chong was in a good mood and he raised his glass. Director Kai, let me give you a toast. After all, It's all thanks to Director Kai's good luck that our magazine exploded in sales and Lucy did outstandingly well too. Chapter 845. Lucy Yang replied humbly. Nah, all the credit goes to Chief Editor Liang and the photographer. Kai Yongsheng was over the moon. Chief Editor Liang, you're too kind. I hope we'll have more opportunities to collaborate in the future. Liang Cheng hurriedly said. Of course. It's an honor to work alongside a capable manager like Director Kai. Everybody was tossing back toast after toast and engaging in small talk when there was a sudden silence in the air. At the door, Yi Wanwan, Yi Mufan, Gong Su, and Luo Chen walked in. Chai Yongli was the one who helped them get the tickets. Otherwise, the host wouldn't have invited them because of Worldwide's ban. Xiao Yutong waved. Mr. Yi over here. Yi Wanwan and the others walked over. Yutongjia, you look beautiful. Xiao Yutong blushed. Thank you. The four of you are the good-looking ones. My eyes were completely blinded by you guys. Upon seeing Yi Wanwan standing with Chai Yongli, the little artist next to Lucy Yang scoffed. Birds of the same feather flock together. Ha! The Yi by today is only good enough to mingle with those outdated companies. Lucy Yang waved. That's just too bad for them. Without Worldwide backing him, there's no way Yi Bai could collaborate with a company like Beauty. I remember when we wanted to have a couple shot on the cover. Not only did Yi Bai disapprove of it, but he even warned that we would be responsible for the consequences. But right now, are these the so-called consequences he was referring to? Haha. The few artists and fashion icons next to her said in a surprised tone. That actually happened? I thought Yi Bai had quite good taste. I heard he's great at both PR and planning. The little artist said. That's why he portrayed himself as such an amazing person, but in reality, his fame was more than he deserves. Kai Yongsheng was displeased. That guy thought he's so great just because he's a vice president. If it wasn't for my uncle trying to drive out Zhou Wenbin, would Yi Bai have gotten his status so easily? That guy was just a chess piece in my uncle's hands. Yet he still didn't realize his own position, and thought he really was an important figure. Liang Cheng laughed. Oh well, youngsters are like that. They have an exaggerated opinion of their own abilities. His eyes lit up as he spoke and he said with a faint smile. I also heard Yi Bai turned around and went to work with Vivi? Lucy Yang chuckled when she heard that. Yeah, that's right. They also copied us. It was also a couple shot, but it was Gong Su and Luo Chen, two grown men on the cover together. They've exhausted their limited abilities and abandoned themselves at the point of despair. Huh? Liang Cheng shook his head and sighed. In the past, Vivi was also considered our senior and an old name in the fashion industry. I didn't expect they would degrade themselves and collaborate with just anybody. Kai Yongsheng hurriedly said. Haha, how could Chai Yongli, that old thing, compare to Chief Editor Liang? Everyone calls you the leader in the fashion industry now. Kai Yongli gave a thumbs up. Liang Cheng was delighted with the bootlicking. He said, Oh right, for our special publication this year, I've already chosen Lucy. Kai Yongsheng was surprised and immediately pulled Lucy Yang over to give a toast to Liang Cheng. Thank you so much. Lucy, give a toast to Chief Editor Liang. Very soon the party came to an end. Yi Wanwan, Chai Yongli and the others were at the entrance about to leave, when someone called out to Chai Yongli all of a sudden. All they saw was a lady in an expensive customized evening gown with a red fur waistcoat over it. She had a delicate face and her lofty gaze had a tinge of displeasure as she looked at Chai Yongli. Chapter 846. Chief Editor Chai, please wait. The one who called out was the movie queen, Yu Si-fei. Miss Yu, is there a problem? Chai Yongli stopped in his tracks. Yu Si-fei mumbled. I heard Chief Editor Chai has been going around telling everyone that I flaked out on you and violated the contract? Chai Yongli frowned and didn't respond. He didn't want to fight with an artist in public over such matters. Xiao Yutong said coldly, although Miss Yu did, in fact, violate the contract, Vivi doesn't take pleasure in gossiping behind people's backs. How others think of you isn't something we can control. Yu Si-fei's manager sneered. Xiao Yutong, everyone knows the state Vivi is in today. R.C. Fei was willing to be on the cover only because she values relationships and she did it for the sake of old friendships. But you guys actually dared to criticize the photos of R.C. Fei. Xiao Yutong and Chai Yong Li's faces turned ugly. R.C. Fei did agree to help them with the cover of this issue, but her attitude was as if she was giving money to beggars. They could tolerate all this, but they really couldn't tolerate her unprofessionalism. Not only was she late and made the crew wait, but she left after shooting for 5 minutes and in the end products weren't usable at all. They merely asked for a retake on another day, but R.C. Fei directly ended the contract and refused to retake the photos. R.C. Fei's manager continued, "Since you guys don't want the face we gave you, don't blame us for being insensitive. Chief Editor Chair, please get your crew members to stop being so shameless and harass me all the time, filling me with this garbage, degrading R.C. Fei." The woman spoke and threw a stack of documents at Chai Yong Li's face. The shooting plan Chai Yong Li prepared for months was scattered all over the floor. At this moment, there were many people walking in and out of the door, and artists had crowded around, watching the show. TSK, this Chai Yong Li really doesn't know how to conduct himself. He actually infuriated the movie queen. It was his fault to disregard the face that was given to him. It was truly lowering her standards for movie queen Yu to agree to be on their cover. He still thinks he's the godfather of the fashion industry? His taste is going from bad to worse. And do you know what kind of artist he looks for now? This time he actually got 2 men together on the cover. What a joke. Xiao Yutong looked at the documents that were trampled upon by passers-by, and her eyes reddened with fury. These ASSH asterisk less. Yi Wanwan bent over and picked up those pieces of paper that had footprints on them, one by one, and handed them over. Xiao Yutong said gratefully, "Thank you." Chai Yong Li's face turned ashen. "Yutong, forget it, they were right maybe. I'm no longer suited for this industry. You should find another path soon. It's been hard on you for sticking with me." Throughout the years, almost all the former staff of Vivi had been poached over by Beauty. Xiao Yutong clenched her fists. "Chief Editor, what nonsense are you spouting? I would never leave Vivi." From the start of the magazine's publication, she had worked alongside Chai Yong Li and she always respected his philosophy in fashion and work ethics. Xiao Yutong was disappointed and muttered in exhaustion, "Too bad the entertainment industry is no longer a place where you can prove yourself as long as you're capable." Yuanwan turned to Xiao Yutong and mumbled, "Not necessarily so. If the world is against you, you have to be so strong that nothing can stand in your way, not even the entire universe." Chapter 847. Newsflash. Gong Su and Luo Chen chased the goddess over 1,000 miles. Rivals met face-to-face at the fashion party. Who will bring the beauty home? Lucy Yang was breathtaking at the fashion party. Dazzling's director of talent recruitment, Kai Yongsheng, talks about the current situation in the entertainment industry. He merely attended a function, yet the gossip was all over the place within one night. Kai Yongsheng also promoted himself in the meantime, which was expected of him. During Dazzling Media's company party, the top management and artists gathered together. Come. Everyone, let's give a toast to Director Kai. I believe Director Kai will lead Dazzling to glory. Cheers. Haha, after Director Kai joined us, we finally found out what a true professional manager is like. Who is Yi Bai anyway? He only groomed Luo Chen after so long, but Director Kai managed to get Goddess Lucy to shoot to fame within a few days. Exactly. Kai Yongsheng's face was flushed from the alcohol. He smiled gleefully. Haha, don't compare that gigolo with me. What does he have? Without worldwide backing him, we'll see how he's going to survive. The others chimed in. Director Kai is right. Gong Su and Luo Chen were too careless. They were really cheated terribly by Yi by this time. Lately, the projects they've been working on are all so messy, huh? Being on the cover of a magazine that's close to collapsing and even reducing themselves to the point of accepting an endorsement for female products. Only time will tell. Someday, Gong Su and Luo Chen will realize which manager is truly capable, and by then, they'll definitely beg to return. While Dazzling was throwing a grand celebration party for Kai Yongsheng and Beauty, was announcing their record-breaking sales. Vivi Magazine's official Weibo silently posted the cover of the upcoming issue with the link for the pre-orders. #Luochen, Gongsu. Vivi's special article #Vivi's brand new mysterious cover strikes. Justice and evil, light and darkness. Taking you on a brand new journey. Vivi's flagship store pre-order link. At Luochen at Gongsu at Chai Yongli at photographer Xia Yutong. Specially invited stylist at Felix, at Yibai, at Age Off the Mortals Media. Xiao Yutong sat in front of the computer. She took a deep breath and pressed the enter key before she said, "Chief editor, the blog post is up." Chai Yongli nodded. "Good." Xiao Yutong looked at the photograph on the cover that was even more stunning after going through processing. "I think everyone will like it." Although Chai Yongli thought so too, he failed too many times in the past and didn't dare to have high hopes for this. After a few minutes, there was silence under the blog post and there were only 2 likes. Late at night, Yi Wanwan and the others held a meeting about the script at the office when her phone had a notification. Vivi had made the announcement on their Weibo. "Gongsu Luochen, go share it." Yi Wanwan said. "Okay. Sure." The 2 of them shared the notice of the cover like usual, and Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan did the same as well. Yi Mufan glanced at the cover. He had to admit that those 2 guys really looked quite handsome on the cover, and they displayed a lot of emotion. Plus, with Gongsu and Luochen's fans, this upcoming issue would sell out for sure. However, they really didn't earn much from being on the cover of just one issue. The money wasn't enough to solve their crisis, and they had to quickly think of a way to make more money. Otherwise, there was no way they could start production. Yi Wanwan glanced casually at the Weibo post and said, "Alright, it's late. Go back and rest." Chapter 848. The next day, the sun rose slowly. It was the start of a new day in Imperial City. In the tea room of a certain high-class office building, 2 girls had their heads buried. They huddled together mysteriously and were swiping their phones intensely. They even screamed with an indescribable thrill from time to time. "Ah! Too handsome, too handsome. How could he be so handsome? I'm about to faint. Oh! Our hubbies are simply too compatible, right?" One of the 2 girls, who was screaming excitedly at the other, was Gongsu's diehard fan while the other was Luochen's diehard fan. When Gongsu and Luochen's relationship was sour, the fans of these 2 artists were like fire and water as well. A few girls from the back entered. When they saw that these 2 girls were huddled together so closely, it was like they had seen a meteorite crashing to Earth. Judy, Alice, what's going on with the both of you?" "Haha, that's right. Don't you guys hate each other to the core? What happened here?" After the 2 of them saw their colleagues, they revealed foxy looks and pulled the others in like bandits, then eagerly showed them the blog post from their phones. "Big sis, let me show you guys some good stuff." Yes, I guarantee it'll be good. What are you girls looking at?" The few girls leaned over. When they saw the magazine cover on their phones and the collage of the other photos in the magazine, they went silent for a second before they screamed at the same time. "Ah! Oh God. So handsome. How could they look so good? Is this a vampire and a hunter? It totally brings out that feeling. Gongsu looks so adorable in his velvet pajamas. It's simply too mo. Luochen looks too good with spectacles. TSK. No wonder the 2 of you are so crazy over these 2. I want to be a fan too. What magazine is this? I'm going to buy it. Come. Welcome to the club. I've already pre-ordered my copy. Why didn't I ever realize that Gongsu and Luochen were actually so compatible, huh? Especially from these homely photos. I'm basically being force-fed a mouthful of dog food. Ha, right? Before we always thought Gongsu and Luochen weren't on good terms, but now, we realize these 2 just had a love-hate relationship." The girls were looking at the photos excitedly when there was a loud thud. The girl behind them fainted, holding her phone all of a sudden. "Shit. And are you okay?" The girl hugged her phone and woke up in a daze. There were traces of tears on her face. "I have no regrets now." Don't panic. And is a senior Fujoshi. She can't take this sort of stimulus. She's probably overstimulated. Ha. Can't blame and for not being able to handle this. I'm not even a fujoshi and I'm already melting, alright. Companies, schools, production teams, crowded streets and small alleys in the morning, similar scenarios kept happening. With the netizens sharing the good stuff all over, the upcoming issue of Vivi featuring Luo Chen and Gong Su on the cover had spread across all of Weibo and WeChat moments. Luo Chen and Gong Su kept appearing on the hot searches together, and #ChenSuCP topic broke through 100 million reads. The pre-order sales of Vivi's upcoming issue was still crazily rising. Beauty sold 20,000 copies in a week, but Vivi's flagship store already received 50,000 orders in just one morning, and the numbers were still increasing. Chapter 849. The hot topics on Weibo these days had about tens of thousands of shares, while the cover reveal that Vivi posted was shared over 100,000 times with over 400,000 likes. There were endless comments under the post too. On Xiao Yutong's personal Weibo, the photos she previously posted had also been frantically shared around. Damn. What did I just see? This is insane. Gong Su and Luo Chen are actually in the same frame. This photo gallery is too lovely, huh? I love seeing both of them squabbling. It's like a couple scene. Oh god. My fujoshi heart is exploding. Please get married. I'm begging you guys. ChenSuCP for the win. Who said friendships had to be courteous and nice on the surface? Although Gong Su and Luo Chen have always been fighting, they went through tough times together, and this is the true meaning of brotherhood, alright. It's so much better than those plastic relationships in the entertainment industry. So it's Vivi, that old name. I used to buy every single issue of their magazine when I was in high school. In an office building, Gong Su had just woken up and was rubbing his eyes. He saw the scary amount of shares and comments and was completely shocked. What happened while I was asleep? E.g., you bought a water army, one for us? Luo Chen was puzzled as well. Yi Wanwan replied to the messages that were flooding her phone nonstop and chuckled. I don't have the money to buy paid followers. These are your natural source of water. Yi Mu Fan speedily browsed through all the related messages and exclaimed in surprise. How could they be paid netizens? The sales volume of the magazine can't be faked and the pre-orders have already exceeded 50,000 and it's still soaring. The few of them were talking when Gong Su jumped up like a frightened cat. Damn. Wise young master, the one who's bottom. All of you guys are bottom. Your whole family is bottom. The issues this guy focuses on are really always so strange. At this moment, everyone in Vivi's magazine building was very busy. Xiaojiang, hurry, close the webpage for the pre-orders. We can't have any more orders. There isn't enough stock. Hurry. Xiao, go over to the printing factory and increase the number of copies. What? We can only increase it by 10,000? That's definitely not enough. Get a quote from other factories then. Find whatever you can. Mick, have you edited the third set of photos? And those group photos of the 4 people? Hurry up. Xiao Yutong was so busy that she didn't even have time to swallow her saliva. Her phone kept ringing nonstop and was about to explode. There were also a couple people from the entertainment industry calling to congratulate her even though they hadn't been in contact with her for a long time. Chai Yongli looked at the staff who were so busy at the office and felt like it was a lifetime ago. He never expected that this issue would actually bring about such a drastic change for Vivi, by just using the shots of 2 substitutes on the cover, allowing Vivi to return to its peak. Compared to the rejoicing Vivi, the current situation at Beauty Magazine was as expected. Bang! Liang Chong slammed the table, his face filled with disbelief. This is impossible. This is fake. These numbers are fake. The assistant trembled and stuttered. But I just heard that Vivi contacted many printing factories, so this shouldn't be fake. And the trending topics flooding the internet can't be fake either. Damn it. Liang Chong muttered a curse, then he immediately gave Kai Yongsheng a call, but he couldn't get through. Kai Yongsheng would probably be the one having the greatest headache today. He just woke up from Lucy Yang's bed, and his phone was already exploding. Chapter 850 Dazzling Media. Kai Yongsheng stomped across the staff seating area and headed straight to the office. The staff behind him buried their heads. They didn't even dare to breathe. It was only when Kai Yongsheng walked into the office that they started to gossip. Gong Su and Luo Chen exploded in fame overnight. And as industry insiders, they received the news earlier, so it was impossible that they didn't know about it. Damn, I really have to give it to Yi Bai? Great move. Exactly. He didn't have money, networks, or resources, yet he managed to get Gong Su and Luo Chen to counterattack in one night with just a magazine cover. Our Vice President Yi has always been capable, but he was forcefully squeezed out by Kai Yongsheng. What a pity. Kai Yongsheng is really unlucky this time. Did you guys know? Lucy Yang got scolded terribly. At the office, Kai Yongsheng was throwing a huge tantrum. What did you say? This is impossible. How could such a ridiculous cover be a hit? And Vivi is just a has-been magazine that was about to close down. However, no matter how unbelievable this incident was, the truth was right there. The assistant's head was aching. He said, "Director Kai, the worst thing is what's going on with Lucy. Right now, everyone is attacking her online and even the company was implicated." What? Kai Yongsheng hurriedly turned on his computer and skimmed through the entertainment news. Gong Su and Luo Chen, who had been suppressed by him and laid low for a long time, exploded in fame over the internet overnight. What was worse was that the wind direction had suddenly changed online, and Lucy Yang's Weibo was filled with hateful messages. Shit. What Lu Su CP Luo Lu scandal. It should have been Luo Chen and Gong Su all along. Ha ha ha. Auntie Lu freeloaded here and there. I'm afraid it was just wishful thinking on her part, huh? The two of them left the company together and didn't even give a damn about her. At first, the netizens online were just commenting in a joking manner, but afterward, quite a number of them started to realize that something wasn't right. The voices that were buried by Kai Yongsheng's water army started appearing on the water's surface. Didn't you guys notice that from the beginning till now, Gong Su and Luo Chen's scandals with Lucy Yang were all groundless? There wasn't anything concrete there at all. You guys just noticed that? This was Lucy Yang's tactic. She freeloaded on their fame and created the scandals that the boys were in love with her, establishing herself as an attractive goddess. This woman is simply too shameless. She kept freeloading on Gong Su and Luo Chen's fame, and didn't even let them off after they left the company. I was an employee at Dazzling, but I already resigned because the director of talent recruitment, Kai Yongsheng, has always wanted to take out Director Yi. I'm clear on the truth. In order to increase the popularity of the artist under him, Kai Yongsheng kept using Gong Su and Luo Chen to promote Lucy Yang. In the end, Gong Su and Luo Chen couldn't take it anymore, so they left with Yi Bai. They didn't betray the company together or anything like that, and they also weren't poached by other companies either. Droplets of sweat covered Kai Yongsheng's forehead. What are you waiting for? Get someone to delete all this rubbish. The assistant was helpless. This we already deleted some, but it's impossible to delete everything. How's it possible to contain anything on the internet? Anyway, the other party's fame is so terrifying right now. Lucy Yang's dirty deeds were constantly brought to light, and there were scoldings all over her Weibo, and she was completely criticized by Gong Su and Luo Chen's fans. Meanwhile, with an overwhelming request for more, Vivi magazine released the photos from the third theme, and announced a special interview with Age of the Immortals Media. Chapter 851. The photos from the third theme were taken at a scenic spot in City S. The two of them wore the same outfit from a certain well-known local brand, and the photos were shot in a beautiful and secluded bamboo forest that had an ancient feeling to it. Damn. What are Luo Chen and Gong Su wearing? They look too good. It's a brand from our very own country. They have ladies wear as well. The prices aren't too steep and the clothes look good. Much better than those international big brand names. The location of the shoot looks really good too. The background is too pretty. I feel like going on a vacation now. Let's form a group and go together. After this group of images was freshly released, aside from the netizens commenting like crazy, the clothing brand that Gong Su and Luo Chen wore, and their shooting location also became popular. However, Nobody expected that the most explosive image wasn't the one on the cover nor the photos from the third theme, but it was the company photo that Xiao Yutong suggested they take. Vivi Magazine Official Weibo. An exclusive interview fresh out of the oven with a company photo. More exciting content in this upcoming issue of Vivi is waiting for you. At Audiobook Mortals Media. This Weibo post was very simple. It only had a short paragraph of words and a photo. In the photo, Yi Wanwan was sitting on the sofa with one hand languidly supporting her head. Her lazy and careless eyes glanced casually at the camera, and were as dazzling as the stars in the galaxy. Luo Chen was standing tall and straight, and he stood next to her with a solemn expression. Meanwhile, Gongsu didn't have a necktie on his suit. The first 2 buttons on his suit were unfastened and he looked at the camera, glowing with vigor. Felix held a rose in his hand by the side, and looked extremely elegant. Initially, everyone was talking about how beautiful the bamboo forest was, but after seeing this photo, they were all dumbfounded. In a certain office in Imperial City, one of the female staff, who was slacking away, got so excited that she knocked over the cup on her desk. She didn't even care and hurriedly sent this photo to the group chat with her colleagues. Hurry, go over to Vivi's official Weibo. The little editor has made another big move. At the same time, the number of comments under the post was continually increasing. Damn. What did I just see? Why's my phone so dirty? Vivi simply knows my old Fujoshi heart too well. You told me this is a company photo? This is simply a feast for the eyes. I'm dying to know what company this is. I want to work there. I don't even mind sweeping the floor. I'll go clean the toilets. Don't fight with me for the toilets. Shit, the above commenter is too shameless. Little editor, please post more photos. Hand over the photos and we'll spare your life. The number of shares, comments, and likes were increasing exponentially. Numerous sightseeing, 2 groups of screen lickers. 1. Started looking for related information about this company. The number of fans on Yi Wanwan and Yi Mu fans' Weibo accounts started to soar as well. The current situation for all 4 of their Weibo accounts right now was, Gongsu was a blabbermouth, posting all sorts of nonsense every day. Luo Chen was a workaholic. Almost every post was work-related, usually posting advertisements with brands he was working with. And Yi Mu fans' Weibo was filled with practical information and posts about styling. All 3 of their Weibos had numerous personal photos, and almost every photo was shared by the sightseeing group. As for Yi Wanwan, she used Dazzling Media's Weibo to make posts from when she started working there, and hadn't created an account for herself until recently. She only created this Weibo after registering her own company. There weren't any photos, not to mention a post. Only an announcement about the establishment of Age of the Immortals Media. Chapter 852. The fans were so excited that they were screaming and begging for more photos, begging to reveal their faces and even begging to debut. Damn. This guy is actually the boss of the company and not an artist? What's up with their boss looking so good, huh? Little bro, please debut. I have to be your VIP even if I have to go there to pick up garbage. In the office, Yi Wanwan browsed through the comments on the post and was somewhat speechless. Not only Xiao Yutong and Chai Yongli, but even Yi Wanwan herself didn't expect that this photo would cause such a huge reaction. Gongsu was laughing heartily by the side. Ha. Yi Ji, I think they make a lot of sense. Why don't you just debut? Yi Wanwan gave him side-eye. Just looking after you is enough to keep me busy. Debut? I don't want to be drowned in a certain someone's sea of jealousy. Meanwhile, at the entrance of worldwide media, piercing screams from fans could be heard and countless crazy fans of Han Xianyu were holding banners as the security guards blocked 2 sides to make way for Han Xianyu. Han Xianyu, I love you. Hubby, I miss you to death. Recently, Han Xianyu was overseas for a confined filming, and had just returned to the country today. The second the car door opened, Han Xianyu got off slowly in his shades and mask. When he saw the fans at the entrance, he took off his mask and smiled warmly at everyone, waving at them. The fans immediately screamed excitedly like they were about to faint. After he greeted his fans, Han Xianyu strode towards the company building, and the smile on his face gradually disappeared. There was an icy cold and angry aura around him. His manager, Fei Yang, wiped his sweat. He carefully followed behind him and tried to explain, "Xianyu, sorry about it. I really didn't mean to hide the Yi Bai thing from you, but you were filming a crucial shot and I didn't want you to be distracted." Han Xianyu pulled out his phone and glanced disapprovingly at Fei Yang. Fei Yang felt guilty and coughed lightly. All right, I know you and Yi Bai are really close and was afraid you'd do something rash. Yi Bai fought with the company so badly and even took Gong Su, Luo Chen and Felix away at the same time. Worldwide HQ also ordered that no artists from Worldwide should have any connections with Yi Bai. Fei Yang was anxiously trying to explain when he saw Han Xianyu's fingers tapping on Yi Bai's personal Weibo. Fei Yang was aghast. Xianyu, what are you doing? Don't. He hadn't completed his sentence when Han Xianyu shared Yi Bai's Weibo post announcing the establishment of his company using his own account. He also swiftly typed a paragraph of words. Congratulations on the birth of Age of the Immortals Media. Tigers live in the woods and dragons belong to the vast sea. But you belong to a bigger world. As long as you need me, I'll be by your side forever. When Fei Yang saw the 4 words, "Your post was successful," Fei Yang immediately fell into despair and held his head. He knew this would happen. Xianyu is just too loyal, but I can't blame him for it. After all, when he was at his lowest, when the company, his fans, and the whole world disregarded him, it was Yi Bai who saved him. If it wasn't for Yi Bai, who made vigorous efforts to turn the tide, maybe Han Xianyu would now. He couldn't even dare to think what would have happened to Xianyu if Yi Bai wasn't there to handle the crisis that time. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.